What is going on? Why do you look so surprised each and
I,
every week, Tim?
you cut that out short every time.
No, it's the same intro. It's just that you're never prepared. What's going on,
That's true.
Tim?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us once again. It's almost a regular type thing, right? So,
I think so. Yeah.
Tim, this is a new night, Thursday night, and there's a
Mhm.
reason, a couple of different reasons, but the main reason is today is what's today, Gavin? Tell us what today is.
A Ford Bronco anniversary.
July 13th, 2020 was when Ford launched the Bronco. And here we are at July 13th, 2023. And we have our Broncos, or at least a lot of us do. And Gavin and I started doing some of the stuff that we thought watching the reveal. Say, hey, that'd be a cool vehicle to get, and we could do and fill in the blank. And we're starting to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim, I know you had your reasons for ordering yours, other than you just thought it was cool. I'll let you tell your story tonight.
Oh, it was cool. Absolutely cool.
Pezhead 123, what's going on, my friend? Nice to see you. Bronco 78 Adventures, Michael Cooper, Second Nature Overland. What is going on? And Bronkbusters join us tonight in the comments. But we have a surprise tonight for everyone. So we have guests in the green room, and we're going to bring everyone out one at a time so you get to see who's here. So stick around for just a second. But July 13th, 2020 was really cool. Of course, you could buy another brand, a Jeep or something like that. You could go out and do some of the stuff we talked about. But I'm a Ford fan by nature, by like my entire life. I just like Ford. And when Ford announced the Bronco was coming out, I said, well, we'll wait and see. I was thinking it was going to be something more in line with what they were already building. I had no idea it was going to be the machine that we have today sitting in the garage. We have a couple of them now. And so Gavin and I watched this reveal, and we placed ourselves in that video with Ford, right? So Ford had an awesome launch. This video put us, we wanted to go out in the wild. We wanted to drive wild. We wanted to just live wild, to a saying. So at the time, the channel Bronco Wild Outdoors was born. And of course, we've evolved over the time to Driven Wild Outdoors. So, what do you think, Gavin, real quick, before we bring our guest in and talk to Tim a little bit more?
Yeah,
Isn't it cool to live what we've been talking about?
Mm-hmm. So, then we were just thinking about how we wanted to be driven wild.
Driven wild. Yeah, you want to go out and do something cool and, see nature, go off-roading and go fishing in places we couldn't go with our truck or walk to. And so I think Gavin and I, and we'll let you tell your fishing story later. And he has those fishing stories that are actually real, unlike when I tell one that's kind of like, So anyway, let's bring in our first guest. So you'll remember from just a few weeks ago, we had Destination Bigfoot Bronco in the house. What is going on, Jamie?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
He didn't look he didn't look so shocked like I did when all of a sudden the video was there. It was like he was prepared.
He was actually. Jamie,
Yeah.
you want to be co-host on the show one day? I mean,
sure, I would love to.
Prepared.
Jamie, you should do it.
Yeah. I'm a prepper by heart, so
yeah. Okay, there you go. So you're always ready for whatever. Yeah.
Yep, exactly right.
So, and we're going to bring in our other guest here in just a second, but Jamie, the Bronco, did you watch the reveal on July 13th or did you see it after that?
I saw it on July 13th. I was actually in my office doing some work, and I'd heard that they were going to post kind of a teaser video, and I tuned in, watched it, and fell in love immediately.
You're like, that's me.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Me. That right there. Did you have your color picked out that night or did that come later?
Me and my dad kind of looked at it and we were like, they need to come out with an orange. And so from that point on, he was a big orange fan, and so am I. And Cyber Orange was the closest thing to it. So that's what I went with.
Yeah. And so since you've had your Bronco, you've modified it. Have you ever, let's see, you've got a few Bronkbuster parts on there, right?
Quite a few. Yes. I've got the bushing, the brace, and the passenger side steering rack there, and a 3-inch body lift.
Cool. So yeah, and Broncbuster, the whole idea behind it is, take the Bronco, as cool as it is, as awesome as it is, find the weak points and build off of that. And so that's sort of the idea. And I guess we could talk about Broncbuster all night, or we could just bring them in. And what is going on? Tyler and Amy, what's happening?
Hi there.
Glad to be here. How are you guys?
Doing well. So,
Great.
it's funny, Jamie there has quite a few of your parts on your Bronco. Now, in full disclosure, I don't yet, because mine's somewhere between a Sam's Club parking lot, mall, and the highway. So I'm not there yet, even though Tim loves to give me grief about water crossings. That each time I tell the story, it gets deeper. I think we're up to like 12 inches deep now.
I didn't think we had breached 1 inch yet.
Okay. All right.
But it's going up in small increments every time.
So I have, as Gavin calls, what do you call it?
Pavement Princess.
So that's just beautiful.
Yes, she is.
Anyway, it's starting to get dirty. I do take it to the beach quite a bit. And we took it down one nasty dirt road there in Townsend, Tennessee. Bronco 78 knows that story. Of course, he's still sneezing dust out from that. But and Tim had an adventure with it. But anyway, I haven't really tested my Bronco out. So one of these days I'll be bolting your parts on mine and keeping it keeping it solid.
But no, the thing about mine.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I can tell you, mall crawling is a little less expensive, anyways. So,
Well, I was going to say, if I ever roll my Bronco over in a Walmart parking lot, we have a problem. All right?
Right.
So honestly, I do want to see. I don't know. I haven't seen any pictures on the internet yet, but I know there's been more than one person jump their Bronco over snow, piled up snow in a mall parking lot. And so I'm wondering if somebody's actually made that into an expensive adventure.
Well, we could have the mall, the mall crawler Olympics.
I was just thinking that too.
Let's do it.
Challenge.
The mall crawler challenge. There you go.
There we go.
I think
Sounds like
I think Broncbuster should sponsor this thing, because we ought to break all kinds of stuff jumping over old cars,
let's
curbs or whatever.
Okay, so in preparation, we would leave in the garage, not doing anything for a month.
Are you talking about mine again?
All of us.
Okay.
And then we would just take it out to a mall when it snows. We would all go to some place to meet, and then Broncbuster would sponsor us for all the parts that we're going to break. And then we would jump over a pile of snow or something or whatever.
Well, we're not going to do it in Texas then, because it don't snow here.
Yeah, it doesn't snow there. So where do you go to?
Oh, no one
Virginia, it doesn't snow anymore.
No one does once in a while. You know what I'm still waiting on from the Bronco reveal?
What's that?
The white interior.
Are we?
Yeah, remember we really like the white and the
For the true
right.
mall crawlers, right?
Yes.
White, yeah.
Gavin's calling out Ford on that one, I think, right here live on YouTube. So
I hear
he's saying,
because it was in the reveal video 3 years later. We still don't have.
yeah,
it.
Gavin's
it was
like,
sort of
"All right,
that
Jim, call me."
Nintendo. What is that, Tim?
I see Gavin's over there going, "All right, Jim, call me.
Yeah, call me. We got to talk.
I want that white
Still
interior on my Bronco."
Yeah, that's what we're waiting on. Yeah. White marine grade. That should be like new for 25, right? Because I know 25 is going to be that big.
24.
No, 25 is going to be the big.
5-year anniversary.
It's going to be the mid-cycle refresh type thing. All right, so everyone, tonight we're going to talk about. I want to hear everyone's story, and let's start with Broncbuster. So July 13th, 2020. What were you doing? Did you hear about the Bronco reveal video that was coming out and you were waiting to watch it, or is it something that you've seen? And that's kind of obvious it's changed your life, but how has the Bronco, the 6-gen Bronco, changed your life since 2020?
Well, it's been a big dramatic change. So yes, we were actually traveling. We had our son with us, and our son Levi, he's obsessed with automotive, anything automotive. So he's 21 now.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 years ago. We're driving along, and he says, "Oh, Dad, look at this," and pulls up the video. And understand that at this point, it was in the middle of COVID. Amy was working for Delta, and they had furloughed because of COVID and stuff. And so she was helping me in my construction company. And we just said, okay, she's going to start helping me. At that same time, she wanted to get a Jeep.
I've wanted a Jeep for so long.
And I said, no, I can't get a Jeep. I just can't. I couldn't do it. Bronco comes out, and I said, all right, let's get a Bronco. She said, absolutely. I love it. So we decided we're going to order a Bronco. And instead of traveling the world, because working for Delta, we could fly all over whenever we wanted, but we had no desire anymore with COVID. And we said, well, let's get back to going and doing what we did when we first got married. And that was going off-roading, and Bronco's a perfect time. And that's what started it. Now, understand that, like everybody, we were waiting for a reservation. We got very impatient. Well, I got very impatient.
You got impatient.
And I saw one in one of the forums come available at a dealership, Red McCombs Ford in San Antonio. And I just said, Amy, let's just go look.
I knew there was no looking. It wasn't going to be looking. You were going to be walking out with them.
They wanted $10K over, and which was the normal. Actually, that was a pretty decent price then. We walk into the dealership, and I couldn't leave without it. It was a manual transmission, which she didn't like, but I used that to my advantage. Not too many people want a manual transmission. I said, all right, I'll give you $5,000 over. Anyways, rest is history. We bought Bronkbuster, the blue one in the background that everybody knows. And it became addictive. I mean, we were the first public group to go to the off-rodeo in Texas. So the very first day we were at the off-rodeo, and from there on it was, okay, we couldn't wait to get our Broncos. We get it. And, of course, just next to there is an off-road park called Hidden Falls. And that's where we started going every weekend and taking it further, pushing the limits. We started, trying to figure out how we could get some bigger tires on. We put 37s, and off we're going with the Jeep groups. And we were keeping up quite well and pushing the limits. And we decided, well, we're going to do a buggy line. That was a crazy attempt. And going up it, the famous Bronco hugs. We broke everything. Tie rods, steering rack, the whole 9 yards. Well,
I remember the picture.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what, honestly, we did not ever plan on being in the Bronco business. That was not our intent. I had a construction business. We were quite happy doing that. But then after a series of a couple of months of figuring things out, because when the dealership told me $4,000 to fix it, and by the way, it's coming out of my pocket because we modified it. I said, no way.
Scratches on the.
Oh yeah, they didn't like the scratches on my skid plates. They said, well, that's an insurance claim. So I wasn't going to pay that. I was like, no, we're going to figure something else out. And anyways, through a series of things, we came up with the first part, which was the bushing, and how we could, reinforce the rack. And we had people on the forum saying, oh yeah, you gotta bring it to market. You got to get it out there for the rest of us, because other people were starting to break at that time as well. And I decided, well, I'm going to do this as kind of a hobby. Well, it didn't last very long as a hobby. It was very quickly, I came up with the Buster brace. We had that, and then we started developing some other stuff. That shock skids was our first we were the first ones to develop that. And then I just started running with it. I said, you know what, let's take, and that's where we came up with Bronc Buster. Well, it was an evolution of it, right? We had kind of some things we were already doing and putting some stickers on it, and I broke some stuff, so I called it the Bronc Buster, and and that's what we decided to name the company. And it fits, it works. It kind of, so many things fell into place for us that it felt right that's what we needed to be doing. And it's been fun. I mean, I love that. Number one, maybe she doesn't like it as much, but I get to spend every single day with my wife and my best friend. I love every single day. And so.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So, Amy, you're minding your own business, right? It's July 13th, 2020, and then suddenly it all changes, right? Slowly starts with the Bronco. And I think, was it over Thanksgiving that you had sort of this idea?
Well, yes. Well, it was after going with Light Bright the day before Thanksgiving, and kind of challenging the stepsister. And we went and did a level 7 trail with 40-inch tires. So we had not only decided, well, we broke the rack with 37s, but let's try and get 40s on the Bronco. So we were the first ones to get 40s on the Bronco in the country. And we're out there doing this level 7, level 8 trail. Some of the obstacles actually level 9. And one of the obstacles even at level 10, that's an optional that we did. But before we got to that, the very first day we get out there, we broke the steering rack again. And it wasn't until leaving there and driving back to my sister's for Thanksgiving Day that I had a light bulb go off and figured out, okay, that's what's going on. And I could start imagining in my head what I needed to do to fix it.
And as soon as that light bulb went off, we literally found the first gas station to pull over, and he started looking on underneath the Bronco while it was still on the trailer, in the middle of some sort of windstorm.
40 mile an hour winds in the middle of Nevada, desert sand blowing, and we were pulling the Bronco.
That's hardcore right there. I mean, that is straight up hard.
Yeah. Well, then my sister was mad because we spent all of Thanksgiving trying to figure this out. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of times where people try to say, hey, this is a great idea because I think it is, and let me take it to market. And then sometimes it's a great idea because it's what's needed. And I think that's sort of what happened to evolution with you. It's like, okay, here's what's needed. Let's do it. So yeah, and that's cool. And Gavin, we're going to get Gavin's story in here. We're going to talk to Jamie next, then Tim, and then I want you to tell our story about it. So hang in there. So when did the second Bronco show up in your stable?
It showed up in December. Actually, the funny thing is the build date was on Amy's birthday. So, that's
Nice.
Little sister. That was for her. And it kind of evolved into, that's what we called it, but it was actually born on Amy's birthday. So it shares a birthday with her. Arrived the day before, 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like it in your videos that I watch a lot of your videos there, and you're in the passenger seat and Amy's driving. And so you're sort of talking about what's going on. And I think that's probably the best way, right, Amy? Or
Oh, yeah. Yes.
It's safer that way because I am always answering people and emailing and working. And it's like, okay, Amy does the driving now.
Well, I'll tell you, I did watch your video where you rolled Brockbuster over for the second time, I guess. And this is, you did the top, you installed the top.
Bad
You
one.
had a front. Yeah, you had a front diff issue, but you wanted to go wheeling with everyone. And so
I wanted to do Pritchett Canyon. I had that on my mind. I wanted to do it so bad. And I had already for 2 days took my front I took the CVs out, and I did Hell's Gate, Mickey's Hot Tub. I was doing all of these obstacles anyways in 2-wheel drive. I mean, with rear lockers. And I've done Pritchett. Of course, I rolled once on Pritchett, but I told Amy, I said, listen, we'll just go do it. And if I have to winch, I'll winch. Well, we got on Chewy, which is one of the really hard obstacles in 2-wheel drive. And being off camber and kind of where we were at, I probably should have stopped right there and winched the rest of the way up. I got in a bad position, and anyways, rest history, 30 feet down.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, when I watched the video, it was to me, it was like, God, I just could place myself there. Now you weren't seat belted in.
No.
I mean, you talked about that in there, right? I mean, I'm not
I don't know if it has to do
with
with this. I don't know if it has to do with this recall or not, but I promise you, I went to go up the obstacle, and keep in mind, we'd already been waiting on a lot of people. We had people behind us. We're in a hurry. I went to put my seatbelt in, and it wouldn't. I mean, literally, it would not lock in place. It kept coming undone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, heck with it. And I went. And
Gotcha.
It was done.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that gets you legend in the title, right? So you just
I don't know. Dumb.
Next to John Bronco or something like that. Yeah. But no, and mobile, I don't know what in the world. So mobile mottos in the house, by the way. And we're going to say hello to everyone. Thank you, by the way. Watching right now, please hit the like button. When you hit that like button, YouTube spreads it out to other people, like-minded Bronco content, off-roading, outdoors, or just anything else in general. And they'll help spread the video, by the way. Thursday night's a new night for us, different. So appreciate everyone being here. But tonight, July 13th, 2023, 3 years since the Bronco launch. So that's why we're doing this tonight. So I think, it definitely the Bronco for you, it was something that you're like me. I didn't want to buy a Jeep. But the Bronco came out like, that fits. And Gavin, I think Gavin over here is worn out. Fishing, dude.
I was fishing all day.
It would fit. So we had this idea, and being a Ford fan, I was like, well, it fits, right? Plus, not just that, it was a cool looking vehicle. When you look at the reveal, the launch video where they talk about the trail turn assist, stay bar disconnect, course, select models. Removable doors. The doors can be stowed on board if you don't do anything in the back, as far as say the drawer, the slide out drawer. And you start thinking about a vehicle here, and you start listening to the designers, and they listened to Jeep owners' complaints and tried to build the Bronco to address a lot of those complaints. You don't have to change your doors around trees. You can take them with you.
Oh,
There again, as long as you don't modify the back of
all
them.
the scratches would be on your door.
Oh yeah, I mean, but think about where you're going to leave them. The mirrors, right? You can drive it without the doors, even though technically it's off road. But you have mirrors on the vehicles, right, Gavin? So you can still see where you're going. And I think what they did was they started taking all the pain points from there, and they built this thing. And so we watched that and said, geez, not only is it cool looking, but it sounds like it meets everything that we need. And so we were hooked. So you did this. You now suddenly found yourself in a business that you didn't anticipate. And so now you're supplying people with parts to keep the Broncos safe. Now, Jamie, you bought and you tell us about when you ordered it and when you actually got it. But in your Bronco, you have all kinds of modifications. I will say, Tim, is it Bird Dog Adventures, Off-Road Adventures now, or what's his title?
Yeah, I believe he's changed it to Bird Dog Adventures.
Yeah, it used to be Bird Dog Overland, but now it's Bird Dog.
Yep.
I think he probably has the most mods of any Bronco on this planet.
Dude, he's changing out mods that he's already modded.
Yeah,
I'll send you my build sheet.
He's modded it so much. Yeah, right. He's starting over again, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Jamie, your Bronco is heavily modified. And I noticed I took a picture of yours because we met up at the beach in the Outer Banks. And I took a picture of yours and mine. I'm like, dang it. I've got logos and a table in the back, but that's it. I need to start adding something to it. So it's little peer pressure going on here. But you have some Bronkbuster parts on yours. So why don't you tell us about your build and sort of the story behind it from the launch video to what you have today?
Yeah, from launch video, absolutely fell in love. The cool thing they did with the lights and everything, they showed the lights on the front end. But me and my dad saw the video, and he had two previous Gen 5 Broncos. And I was younger then, of course, and I absolutely loved it. And my uncle had one as well. He actually had an OJ edition, white. And I said, that's exactly what I need. I had a C63 AMG 2014, and it's one of the last non-aspirated V8s. And it was just kind of sitting in the garage, and I wasn't, fully using it during the winter, and I just needed a vehicle that was all purpose. And most of the summers we always go to the beach with the family, take it off-roading. And I wanted something that I could use year round as a spare vehicle. And of course, when I received it, 767 days after it was announced, and I was a day one reservation home. Right, I wasn't counting. It finally arrived, and I'd say it stayed stock for about a week. And
Nice.
The addiction just grew from there, part after part. And I fell in love with Bronkbuster stuff, and Tyler and Amy's just I don't know. It just built and built and built. And I went to my first real big experience, Supercell, this past year, and met a lot of great people. I met Tyler and Amy there for the first time, Allie Dubois, Mitch Creel, all those people. And and you as well, Dwayne. And it opened my eyes.
We did a walk around your video, and I'm like, I don't know whose Bronco this is, but it's freaking cool. Good job.
Yeah. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of different aspects and different little alleys that I could go to. And but ever since then, I've been hooked, and I do as much as I can in it and with it.
Gotcha. Yeah, 2 years ago, Tyler was under Broncos a lot, bolting parts on. I remember. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I was like, dang, man, that's service right there. You can buy it and get it installed.
That was a lot of work, and
Yeah,
I quickly found out from my insurance company that I can't do that because that's not we're not in the install business. So like,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Yeah, supplier business, right? So yeah, one of the things I noticed was Jamie's Bronco is so tall, right? You can see underneath it very clearly. The Bronc Busters, the braces there are just, I mean, I think the color that you did is it sort of the polished aluminum kind of a look. Yeah, I hope that's right, but it jumps out at you, right? And you got the branding written on it. Everything's cool. So you can really start to see it. But with his Bronco, you can see the different fender flares. You see the suspension. You see the lights, the hood. I mean, gosh, it just keeps going in the top. And, Becky's like, well, we kind of need a top like that. And I'm like, yeah, well, I need lights like that. And I was worried about the sound of it. And what's cool is when you talk to someone with a modded Bronco, you can find out whether a light bar, whether you have the traditional small profile light bar, makes more wind noise than, say, the round lights, in a light bar position there. And then also, does the ditch lights, do they create? Because here's the thing. Gavin and I travel a lot. We're getting ready to head back to Detroit here in a few weeks. We actually have 2 trips to Detroit. One is for a meeting. It's going to be cool. Yeah.
When? This one?
I'm not going to tell everybody live here. We got to.
No, is it this one or the next one?
No, this one. This one.
This
yeah, this is where we're flying up.
Uh-oh.
What?
You froze for a second.
He's. Are we there? Are we back?
Yeah, you're good. You're back.
Okay,
yep, you're good.
So yeah, that was Gavin freaking out the system here by getting ready to tell where we're going.
Okay, so
But Woodward Dream Cruise, we're going up to hang out with the good folks over at Bronco Nation. That's going on. I like going up to Woodward. Last year was my first year. I like going because it's the heart of Motor City. You get to see some different places. We get to go to a different plant this year. Ford headquarters again. Yes, sir.
Is there any fishing spots there?
Is there any fishing spots? Well, you know where the outdoors part comes from.
I know, like in a lot of places we go, I want to bring a fishing
Lake
rod.
Superior.
Yeah, Lake Superior. You want to do that? You want to go fishing?
Yeah, we
I think
that's
that's the lake. I don't know which lake's on that side of the street.
Actually, near Flat Rock. So, by the way, I have a news that pertains to Flat Rock tonight, and Becky's already has a headache now. But Flat Rock, is it Lake Superior, Tim, right there?
I'm looking.
Michigan? Okay.
Or is it Heron?
I don't know. But either way, in a Bronco, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. We're driving up into Detroit, and it's going to be cool. But I think when you look at Jamie's Bronco, and there's, I think, been a recent change, at least to the appearance of it. But when you see it, you start to see the stuff that whether you just add a winch or where you add 37s and you stick with that and that's it, or some graphics, or if you do light bars, roof racks, you start changing fender flares, suspension components, from springs to, Jamie, I think, what do you have on yours that you can change the load of the suspension or the height?
Yeah, that's the Icon Stage 8, the CDEV.
Okay,
suspension.
and you towed. Well, you didn't. You had like a lot of luggage and stuff that you were carrying to the Outer Banks, so you were able to help with that, right?
Yeah, because it's got the half rack on the back.
Yep.
It's not a full rack, so everything is kind of stacked on top, Rome cases and everything else, and then we're carrying extra a cargo basket off the back hitch. And going down the road, it really starts to squat a lot. So I just bump it up to about level 10, and it just stabilizes everything out and rides great.
So let me ask you this. The night of the reveal, you're in your office watching this video.
Uh-oh.
No audio.
Oh.
You just lost your audio, Dwayne. Lost your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
No.
All right, so they can hear us. We can't. I got to unplug my mic here a second. Tim's Tim's got to do some IT work to the system here.
It's always the IT guy. Have you gotten that updated studio computer yet?
You can hear me now. I know Tim's just busting my chops about my computer here, but we're back. We're back.
We need a
Well,
PC.
Tim, if I didn't have to buy like $150,000 worth of vehicles and fix alternators and tires in a week, I'd be fine. So,
like what? Like
Gavin, hey, we have a joke. We're going to talk about this here in a little bit. It's kind of funny with our vehicles. It's like somebody's
And the
poking us
people
with
around
a
us.
doll and a needle or something.
people around.
Yeah. So anyway, so what we're talking about, and I'm sorry if you didn't hear me. When you saw the reveal video and you're thinking, "This is cool. I want to get one."
And it just went out again.
Every time, it's not going to happen.
I don't think he's meant to tell the story.
No, exactly.
He doesn't want him telling it that.
New topic.
So, Jamie, I think what he was trying to ask was when you saw that video, how did you feel? I mean, how did it grab you?
It gave me that warm and fuzzy feeling. No,
Yeah.
it was great just to see, that name back again, and seeing so many, that the different ones that they showed in the movie with The Rock, the one that they showed back in 2003 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And just getting teased and teased and teased, and then they released the Expedition, and they never came out with it again. And when I saw that it was a retro throwback to the Gym ones, I absolutely loved it. They did such a great job.
Yeah. Tyler, Amy, what do you guys think about the retro throwback of the Bronco?
Oh, I love it. I mean, that was one of the things and that's one of the things I'm excited about with our new build is putting some more retro looks into it, because we've always just really liked the retro
I think it looks
look.
amazing.
Yeah,
I like it.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, I bought an FJ Cruiser 2007, the first year it came out, and it same kind of thing for me in the Bronco, that retro look, that throwback to the original, really, it caught my attention. I drove that thing for 8 years, 300,000 miles on it. I don't know how many kids I hauled back and forth through scout camps and camping every month with the troop, and just absolutely loved it. I went through a midlife crisis. I got a sports car, that it did all that, and then I was looking at a Jeep. I was done with it. I wanted to get back outdoors and stuff like that. And I was at a point, I found one that I liked. It was a Gladiator, and we just couldn't get the numbers right, couldn't get the math right on the trade-ins and everything. So I stepped back, and then the Bronco reveal came out, and I saw that, and I said, I'm done with the Jeep.
Yeah, I'm done.
Because I knew at that point I had to wait a little bit longer to get the loan down a little bit more on my other car. So I'm like, well, okay, it'll be 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever. And so I went ahead and I committed to it. And I honestly, I think that it's probably been one of the best decisions, and just thinking about, for you guys, it spawned a whole new business. For Dwayne, Jamie, and I think we've all gotten involved in social media and YouTube, and it's, has changed us, and hopefully for the good, and has given us the ability to get out there and do things. And I think, Dwayne, are you back now?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. And I think Dwayne is, really has a story with Gavin, and I think we should probably hear that now.
Yeah, Tim, we'll get yours in a second, but yeah, Gavin and I are watching this reveal, because here's the thing. Even I'm a Ford fan, I hadn't kept up on the Bronco, because I kept hearing the Bronco's coming back and then it didn't. Bronco's coming back and it didn't. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, when I heard they're bringing the Bronco back, I'm thinking very normal, right? Like Expedition modified type stuff. And it was the day before someone shared a a picture. I saw it somewhere online, and I told Gavin, I was like, we need to watch this. I said, I think this is something we want to check out. So Gavin and I, what were you at the time? 9?
9.
Yeah, you were 9 years old. We're watching another TV that we have in this room that we're at right now, our media room. And we're watching this launch video and we're thinking, gosh, like this is the real deal. I was shocked at every turn that it looked like it reminded me of the original, right? The first gen. But then the technology, you know, I'm an engine guy. I know engines. I know it's EcoBoost. Some people like them. Some people hate them. I don't really look. The EcoBoost engines are, to me, they're very solid for what we have today. So I was happy to see what they were doing there. Of course, a V8 would be great, right? But we already know the cafe standard stuff like that. But anyway, I'm watching this technology: trail turn assist, stay bar disconnect, washout interior. Of course, we did sort of see that white interior Gavin brought up earlier, Bronco, which was really cool.
I need it.
Our first decision was cactus gray with the white interior. Like that was the one we wanted. And
we were. Oh, sorry.
All right, go ahead.
It was either we were stuck between Rapid Red or Cactus Gray and Area 50.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the story. What happened?
We were stuck between those 3 colors.
Oh, Gavin, I think ran and got my computer, and we came back, and because you kept advertising, go to Ford.com. The website was crashed.
Yeah, I want a Cactus Gray.
So I couldn't get through until about 11 p.m. I got one order through, and that was for my 21 that I have now, and reservation. So I did the reservation for that one. And then I said, it was 5 minutes later. I was like, but we got to have 2. Like we can't just have one. These things are too freaking cool to have one.
And Mom needs one.
Yeah, Mom needs one, right? So she has her Range Rover Sport, right? And yeah. And so what happened was, I started trying. It wasn't until about 12:45 that I get the second one in. So technically first day reservation holder for the 21 and for our 22. It was the second day because it was after midnight. But the first one was a Badlands because I figured, hey, it's cool. It's most capable off-road. Second one was a Wild Track. So Becky's Bronco originally was reserved and ordered in January as a Wild Track. So to us, Gavin and I started talking about, wouldn't it be cool to go fishing in places we can't drive our truck to? Wouldn't it be cool to go camping? Wouldn't it be sure you could do this with another type vehicle, but for us, the Bronco fit the part with what we wanted to be seen driving. I hope that's not too harsh, is it?
No.
Can you guys hear me? So, and so I said, yeah, I'm a Ford guy. Ford's coming out with the Bronco. The Bronco's this iconic name, and all the cool stuff. And they really did this video up right. And so it placed Gavin and I where we wanted to be. Now I have worked a lot up until this point in my life. And when I say a lot, I still work hard, but I work smart and hard. At one point in time, I worked hard. And what happened was I was not home a lot. I was always working, and I decided that's going to end. That, life is for the living, which is a company that we started. And I'm going to start living it. And Gavin and I traveling to, say, Detroit to Woodward last year was cool. It was great for me to see. Yeah, I drove by a plant where my 91 Mustang GT was built. I drove by where my truck was built, and I'm like, this is wild. Like, I get to see where the stuff came from. It's new to me. Townsend, Tennessee, 3 times. Carlisle, 3 times. So we're starting to see new places, new people, starting to do new stuff. And it's all because of the 6th Gen Bronco. And so Ford, in a way, has really connected a lot of people with the outdoors. And if you think about when the launch came out, it was the best of times and it was the worst of times, right? So it was the best time because a lot of people were at home, locked up in their house. Depends on what state you're in, depends on how bad. But you wanted to be out. You wanted to be just doing something different. You wanted to be free. You wanted to breathe fresh air. You want to do fun stuff. But it was the worst of times because the same people sitting at home on the couch were the ones supposed to be making the parts and manufacturing, right? So you had the great launch, the reservation numbers, but then you had the reality. You had to supply the parts and build the vehicle. I can tell you from our real estate business and a little bit of our heating and air that it was hard to run an effective business, with stuff not being available. So I think Ford's done a tremendous job on that point. But that's how we came about. And so now Gavin and I find ourselves going to Townsend, Carlisle, Detroit,
Overland Expo. You went to
Overland
Expo.
Expo.
Yeah.
No one negotiates.
Well, he's going this year. He didn't go last year. He's under the weather. This year
I'll be there.
Will you be? Well, I'm going to have a warning. I'm going to have a heater and a real big electric blanket and all that good stuff.
I'm going to have a yurt, so hopefully, fingers
So
crossed.
Jerry asked, and yeah, well, the Bronco. Hey, by the way, the Bronco Nation has like some awesome pancakes, by the way.
Yeah, burgers.
And this year at Super Celebration East, we realized that Robert cooks a mean hamburger, by the way. So we're fans of Bronco Nation and the hamburgers and the pancakes, by the way. Hey, but real quick, Jerry asked, and we'll get to the comments in just a second. I haven't said hello to everyone. I appreciate you watching tonight. Jerry said, so why Area 51 instead of Cactus Gray? So when it came down to it, it was the white interior wasn't available. And I was really struggling with the colors. I liked Cyber Orange. I like Race Red, which was the Wild Track. So Becky's Bronco originally was the Wild Track, Race Red, and but I was really struggling with the other one. I'd had a blue vehicle, I'd had white vehicles. All of our company trucks are white. I said, well,
all of our cars are white except for the
company
Mustangs.
Vehicles, cars, stuff like that. And so we decided, well, white was out. Black is a beautiful color, just hard to keep clean. So I'm like, that's out, at least in my opinion. And it just became Area 51 was the most unusual color at the time.
And a lot of car companies.
And Area 51,
Ford,
Area 51, I struggle with this, right?
Yeah.
Because I'd see it dirty at Townsend. I'm like, I don't know if I like it like that.
And it's also cloudy.
Yeah, it was cloudy. It was dirty.
It was
and I'm like,
it was horrible.
Kind of plain. But then you see it washed in the bright sunshine. It's like, dang, I love the color. And so we stuck with Area 51, and I never have regretted it. Ever.
And if you notice, after they started production of the Bronco, other car companies, I know like Hyundai and Honda, I know they have a color just like Area 51.
Similar?
I think Toyota has it too. A lot of companies have copied Ford because they were right after they released it.
Well, so Gavin has a good point. Sort of those. I don't know if you want to call that pastel, but sort of that type of color. And then Ford took it a step further with the azure gray. They added slightly tinted differently, but they added metallic to it. And so it was pretty cool. Now Becky's Bronco, like I said, I ordered both of them in January 21. In September, we got our 21 Area 51. I had to switch it to a soft top to get it. When they announced the colors for 22, we switched Becky's not only to a 22, but we switched it from red to green, and we switched it from Wild Track to Badlands. So totally just shifted everything all around. And I think it was just cool. And by the way, those are two different driving vehicles. A 21 Badlands soft top drives a little bit different than a 22 Badlands hardtop. Pretty amazing, right? She notices it. Her Bronco's at the dealer right now. Ford's had a few recalls, and she's ignored them all until now. And she figures, well, let's go ahead and go take care of it. Child safety lock on a door. She had a little imperfection in the seat. And anyway, they're just taking care of the little basic stuff before her 3-year 36,000, and she'll hit the 36,000 miles before 3 years. So her Bronco is just getting some TLC to it, and they're doing a Tim with Overlanding for Fun special 5-tower rotation.
That's right. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, and they said that training for this was sponsored by Overlanding for Fun. So you apparently have the.
There you go. All I need to do is go see my video.
But anyway, so that's how we came about. Now, real quick, and we jump back to Bronc Buster. But Tim, your deal, you told a little bit about your story when I had my mic problem. So tell us, and I want Gavin to finish up before he has to leave after you tell your story, and then he's going to be gone.
Let him finish so he can.
Right.
He can.
So with the Bronco, we talked about it. We saw the reveal right here. We said all the cool stuff that we're going to do. We decided when we were listening to the whippoorwills and we had the fire, it was 43 degrees, kind of cold up in the Virginia mountains, right on the stream. That was exactly what we thought about, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I'm not worried about being the coolest guy on the internet. What I am worried about is my son one day remembering every single thing that we did, right? Mm-hmm. And so
I agree with that.
Yeah, the fishing and I'm not here cussing everyone and all this other stuff. This is Gavin and I, like I said, and I hope you appreciate the content, but this is Gavin and I just living the best days of our life because we're going to these cool places. We're freezing our butts off next to a creek in the middle of the night, listening to all sorts of weird sounds. But we were in Luray last year. Right? What did you say you thought was outside the tent?
Oh, a bear.
No, say it.
A raptor?
Raptors. He's thinking Jurassic Park, right? So I'm a grown man laying there saying, Gavin, raptors, that's Jurassic Park. And I'm laying there going, well, what is that? Because it does sound like a raptor from that movie.
Like
Jesus,
the clicking
boy,
noise
don't
they
scare
make.
me like that.
Like the clicking noise they make with their mouth. I can't do it.
There was the weird sounds. So I'm not a camper, right?
There's a bear snoring next to
we
me.
just started camping. And so it was kind of funny. We're laying there trying to go to sleep and he starts talking about all this stuff that I know doesn't exist.
Sounds like there's a bear.
But in the middle of the night, it's Luray in a cavern in a valley. You might be a grown man starting to think, well, geez, maybe it's 11 years on to something. So I don't care.
Did you hear the banjos?
No.
I heard.
Then you're all right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No. There was none of that.
That was.
Oh, I just heard a little
What
bit
did you
in
hear?
the background there. But
Yeah. Well, somebody was playing. So Tim probably has some background noise, but anyway, so that's where we're at. So Gavin, do you have anything to add before you head on out for the night? You're good? All right, man. Oh, you show everybody your shirt. Tim wanted to Tim's sponsoring the show tonight, by the way.
I found this shirt and I was like, hey, he's gonna be
So this is you got it. This is the one and only El Bronco Santa tie-dye shirt that he was gifted there in Townsend, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Are you done?
Yep.
All right, brother. See you. Good night.
See everybody.
Good night,
Good night, Gavin.
Night.
Good night, Gavin.
All right, cool. So anyway, so that's our story with the Bronco. And, I just think it's cool 3 years later, you start, for us. And like I said, our channel was created sort of this. I know sometimes when I do the technical videos, we kind of get into the weeds a little bit, but overall our stuff is just fun loving, kind of having fun with it, So I'm not worried about being the most popular on YouTube. I'm just worried about that young man right there never forgetting these days. So that's my story.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yep.
Yes.
Good reason.
I agree.
So Tim,
Yes, sir.
why don't you tell your story? I am going to mute and I'll be right back in just a second.
Which story?
About your Bronco. You started to tell it earlier, the FJ.
I had my midlife crisis.
But I think you need to go into it with the production dates because you had probably the worst.
Yeah. So, like a lot of people, I threw out that reservation right away. Dwayne. Yeah. Dwayne.
So Amy's going to take the opportunity to go exit for the bathroom. So,
Okay. While we're on the audio version of the podcast here tonight, so like a lot of people, I threw the money down, and I got a production date right away. After we went in and we placed the order, I ordered a fully loaded Badlands, had everything on there that they said you shouldn't have, and I kept sitting down with my dealer and I'm like, look, I am not changing. This is what I wanted. I'm not changing. I'm not changing. And I got a build date of like July 5th, 21. And I was ecstatic. Well, right before that date, we're sorry, Mr. Davis, there's been a production delay,
Yeah.
8 of those production delays later, finally I get a blend date. And, so at this point, I'm just like, every time I okay, we're looking to have your car, or have the Bronco built by, this time frame. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And so finally, when I got, when my, not the build sheet, the sticker, window sticker went live, and I could see it, and I could see the blend date and the number that it was expected to go down the line. And, by this point, every little thing about the Bronco had been dissected, and, you knew every little thing. And in a lot of cases, most of us, in the forums, we knew more than the dealerships did. And so, like, you would go to get information, and it was a very frustrating process. Now, I had a very good dealership, and they were, they were one that every time I mentioned, we're good on the price, right? Nothing's going to change. This is, and his general response to me was like, there's a special place in hell for dealerships that pull those switcheroos on people. But yeah, so I've got 8 letters from Ford. Actually, I guess actually 7, and then the 8th letter was the last one that I got that said you're supposed to be built in this week. And I'm still trying to figure out a decorative way to frame it all.
I was going to say, do you have them framed?
But they're they're full sized pages, right? 8.5 by 11. So I want to find some decorative thing at Hobby Lobby or something like that to do that. So like family photos, it's just going to be all the emails from Ford, and I got all the swag that they sent. I've saved it all.
Yep.
I told the GM at the dealership, I said, I want every bit of stuff that came with this Bronco. Don't throw the build sheet away. Don't do any of it. So I have every bit of that. He went out and he took every sticker, piece of paper, plastic thing, even the plastic thing, the protective sheet that went over the display, is all in a folder for me, which is cool. And that's all stuff that I'll save. And this is probably not a vehicle, because it's the first year, the 21 and everything. I foresee that at some point down the road, they're going to have some special value when it comes to collectors, and things like all this paperwork and stuff will just boost the value to somebody down the road. So that was just my general story. I got it, I think the last day of November. It got delivered to the dealership. I got a text message from the GM showing me it. He recorded it as it was coming off the back of the truck and everything. And I was in there first thing the next morning. Yeah. Well, I gave them a couple hours to get it cleaned up and to do their prep on it. But
Tyler, I'm sorry, Tim, go ahead, finish.
Oh, no. So, very good experience from the sales side, from the whatever. A little bit of a headache, and waiting, the delays. Sometimes I know a lot of people have been frustrated. I see there's still people that have kind of been waiting on Broncos still since the beginning that have been around, or they haven't, and they want to complain. I don't know, but I hope it's.
That sounds like something from Bronco 6G. Somebody would complain about.
Yeah.
You get some special ones on there.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta watch some of the comments now. I think and Bronkbuster as a whole is not any like you catch it. I did a in-depth video on an engine, and I called. I'm like, why do I even add anything? But anyway, it's all part of the fun. I was going to tell you that did Tyler, Jamie, or I know Tim's story on this, but did either one of you track your Bronco when it was built, after it was built, to when the dealer got it?
Oh yeah, I mean, we were tracking every step of the way, calling the dealer, watching it being. I mean, Amy was so excited at that point because I had mine and then he wanted hers at that point. So, of
Right.
course, Bronkbuster was a spur of the minute where we went and bought it type of a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just had to have it. So we were tracking hours on the train. So our dealer was able to give us a play-by-play, you know, what, and it was kind of
Yeah.
weird how Norfolk Southern does it. It doesn't tell you where it was. It says passing whatever town, passing Warren, passing, you know, White or whatever. And so I guess what would happen is as the train would pass through, then it would record.
Yep.
We knew exactly when it was going to come into Roanoke. Gavin and I were on the way to the county fair, and we decided, you know, we watched. So we hit the hotspot there on the computer. He's in the back seat watching the laptop, and he's like, "Dad, pull over." You know, we pulled over side of the road, and here's this Norfolk Southern train coming through right when it was supposed to, and it had the car carrier, you know, the really tall orange-looking trailers in the back. Becky was in Farmington, Virginia Farmville, Virginia to look at a horse. Well, she was sitting at the track later that night when the train passed by. She was having to wait for the train to go by, and our Bronco was on that train. Because the Broncos that come into Mid-Atlantic region go to Crewe, Virginia. They offload there, and then they go to Petersburg on a trailer. I know exactly where that lot is. We used to drive by that lot looking on what was on the trailer saying, gosh, you know.
Yeah.
So we really kind of geeked out on the whole thing, you know. And her Bronco, I was going down Mercury Boulevard in Hampton, you know, where our dealer is located in Hampton, Virginia. And I see this truck go by with a green Badlands on the back. And I was like, well, there's only one dealership on this road. Oh my gosh. Almost hopped the curb to go back because I wanted the video coming off the truck. And I was able to, right here on our channel, we have that video of it coming off the truck. Now, for everyone watching right now, don't go anywhere. We're going to show a sneak peek of, Tyler, would you call it Bronkbuster 2.0? Or what are you doing?
3.0.
3.0. Okay, because you've
third version of Bronkbuster. Yeah.
So Trip for short.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
now you guys are the first to see this. So yeah, it's
this is the world debut, exclusive right here. So go get the kids, go share this video, like the video,
call all your friends,
call all your friends, let them know that the new Bronkbuster 3.0 is actually going to be shown just a snip because Tyler has some videos coming out that's actually going to show
on it. Yeah, I mean, we're doing a lot of mechanical stuff next. I mean, we're going to 3-link it. We're going to, 4-link it. We're going to have the rear suspension travel more than any other 6th-gen Bronco out there. So
that's awesome. I can't, and there again, you're taking that to the next level. So that's going to probably spur parts and stuff like that. So, all right, without any further ado, we're not going to tease everybody. Let's add this to the stream. So Tyler, tell us. Well, tell us what we're seeing in this one picture.
So what you're seeing is, number one, all that only thing that's stayed the same is the bumper. I haven't changed the bumper, although we are going to put our newest version of the bumper that's going to be polished aluminum. So I'm going to change out my bumper on that as well.
There you go.
I don't have a hard top on it yet. So if anybody that knows, we're developing with Armadillo Designs the first metal hard top. So this will have the first finalized version of the metal hard top on it here in about 3 weeks is what we're looking at, and we're gonna do a little bit of a retro look. I'm doing the blue that, you know, this is Area 51 blue. I have it all over my hands because I painted this myself. And we're gonna do a white top, and all of our graphics are going to be different, but they're going to be some white graphics. And I'm actually going to paint my bead locks white to go kind of a little bit mean and tough, but a little bit retro. So
very nice.
We're having some fun with this.
Yes. But it's not the perfect picture. This is just supposed to be sort of that sneak peek anyway. So
yeah, I mean, there's no windshield in it, of course, because we cut out and replaced all of the A-pillars, all of above the windshield. That was all smashed in. The windshield was smashed in. So I literally had to cut and grind and weld in all new pieces in there. We did a lot of straightening. You know, I mean, realistically, if I would have went through insurance on this, they would have totaled it. And
right. Absolutely.
Dwayne, can
It
you
would've been cool.
take Jerry's comment down?
So I decided that we're going to just build it from the ground up, every bit of it, and it's been fun. It's been a lot of work. I tell you, it was 118 feel like today out there working on it in the Texas heat.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work, but I think it'll be worth it. We got 3 different videos. We're going to do a series of videos of the whole build that we'll start with the first series here. Hopefully next week we'll have it done.
So Tyler, of the parts that you replaced, and you mentioned like the A-pillars and stuff, were those something that you were able to get new, or did you have to use like a donor Bronco to get the replacement?
So actually, all of the A-pillar and all those parts I bought new. However, I did buy a part. I actually have a center section, like literally from in front of the windshield to behind the windshield, cut out of a donor Bronco that I had intended to use all of it, but it ended up being more work than it was worth to then. I bought all of the new parts from Ford and cut and welded those into place, cut out the old parts, grinded them out and welded the new ones in place. So I did use a lot of parts off of it. So it wasn't for nothing, but it was actually, because all the hood, the fenders, all of that is from Advanced Fiberglass Concepts. So those were fairly easy to get. I replaced the front grille, replaced the headlights. I've put the Buster in there instead of Bronco to kind of do some logoing for our company. And you'll see, you can't really see it there, but it's got the front trail sights. I did them in our newest product, which is white trail sight. We have white and black, but it has the LED light strips on them. And so I wanted to put that into it. And yeah, some fun stuff, but now the mechanical stuff. So we'll start that come Monday. I'm taking it to our friend Eric at Lone Star Ring and Pinion, where we're rebuilding the front drive unit because, of course, we have a broken ring and pinion on it. He'll then 4-link the back. We're gonna cut into, since this has a body lift on it, we have a lot more room on the rear frame to cut in and actually raise all of the suspension up in, which will give us a lot more clearance where the lower shock mounts. We'll remount all of that. Part of what allows us to 4-link it is we've actually come up with a way to relocate the fuel tank to the back. So, I mean, this is our experiment vehicle. I mean, we've done everything and anything you can imagine. Talk about changing stuff out. I mean, this is the 3rd paint job I've done on Bronkbuster, and it's been a learning experience for sure.
So before Bronkbuster, how many vehicles have you painted?
None.
Total.
Zero.
Okay.
Well, I learned a little bit on a 96. So I restored a 96 last year, but the guy that owns this shop, he did the actual painting. When it came time to paint Bronkbuster this time, he said, "Do you want to do it or do you want me to?" And I said, "I really want to do it. If I'm going to mess it up, I'll mess it up." And, and it came out really good.
So when Jamie rolls his, will you paint his for him, or is
I'm going to make Jamie come and learn with me? But we'll
it's a tri-coat, so it takes an extra step. So
yeah. Hey, by the way, that's the rumor. That's why antimatter blue. And was there another color that went away for that reason?
Orange, maybe.
Well, there's a harder to touch up.
The Rapid Red. Or was it
Rapid Red? Yeah,
I think it was one of the reds that was similar to in nature to the antimatter blue.
I know I heard that antimatter blue was just terrible to you couldn't fade it in. You'd have to repaint the entire side or front or whatever. Tyler, I don't want to keep you all night. Tell me you got to go, but I know there might be some ice cream going on here, but I do want to let you go. I did tell you like 10, 15 minutes, and I think we're an hour later. So why don't you wrap up and we'll let you go. But real quick, what's new? I did see an advertisement for the 3.0 rack. What's going on with that?
So, we've got the Haas 3.0 rack, which everybody knows of. It's in the Raptor. Well, they call it the Haas 4.0 on the Raptor, but it's the same rack for all intents and purposes. A little bit different programming because you got a different turn radius and stuff with the width on a Raptor. But it's basically the same thing that's in the Wild Track, and we've been able to now program them, flash them to fit in your Bronco to go out. Haas 3.0 has 30% more power. And it has all of our upgraded parts on it, the housing, the bushing. So it comes complete, ready to plug and play into the into the Bronco. So that's one of our newest things that we've released, but we've got a lot. I mean, portal axles, the first 6 sets are showing up next week and going to be installed on some vehicles. We've got the portals coming. We've developed the differential tube. So a lot of people out there are breaking, putting the bigger tires on, breaking their differential tube on the outboard side of the M210. And we've got a really beefy billet piece that replaces that.
I knew it. I told someone when that you talking about the issue with the spot, not the spot welds, but what do they call it?
No, that's on the rear axle. So there are some ways to not have that problem. I mean, you can trust the rear. Really, the easiest way, if you're worried about that, just weld your tube. I mean, it comes from factory with some spot welds because it's
plug welds.
Plug welds. If you're concerned about it, especially if you have trail turn assist, just go and weld the tube solid around. You're not going to hurt any. I mean, I'd have a professional do it, but you can weld it and make sure that never happens. But the front differential, the problem is that it, you have a very thin, very similar to the steering rack. It's a thin cast aluminum, and you start getting a lot of torque and a lot of movement, and that's what breaks on that. So it's about 6 months ago we started R&D on developing that. One's been a very difficult one. It's a very expensive part to make because it's got needle bearings on the inside. I mean, it's got to it's a long piece, and we have to have boring within a precision of 0.02 of an inch, throughout, and a lot of precision. So it took a lot to get it developed, but we just finally rolled our first ones off of today, actually, that those are done. The hinge. So everybody's, reinforcing the tailgate. Everybody knows about the tailgate flexing and bending, but what people aren't looking at is how thin and little that pin is on that hinge. And that hinge is the next, weak point. So we've actually developed a complete, not cast. We actually take a big chunk of steel, we put it in the CNC machine, and we mill it down to the shape and everything, and then powder coat it. So it's not out of cast, which comes on the Bronco, but it's out of steel with a pin equivalent to about 3 times the strength of what's on their stock. So that goes in conjunction with a tailgate reinforcement that we're coming out with, but it also works with everybody else's tailgate reinforcement. So that's a new product. And then we're working on we've had a lot of people asking us for a long time for manual sway bar disconnects, and we're still a few weeks away from that, but we're coming up with our version, which is going to beat everybody else's as far as how beefy and strong and easy to use and stuff. But it's, some of these things evolving. We've been evolving some of our other parts to fit on some other things, like the Wild Track takes a different shock skid. So we have a shock skid that we'll be releasing pretty soon for Wild Track. Then we're going to go to Raptor and do some stuff. So trying to keep up with the most important things.
Well, I'm going to help spend Jamie's money. Jamie, you need one of everything that he's talking about coming out with. So just there you go. Let's see how it looks on your Bronco, by the way.
You didn't see Jamie over there typing on his computer ordering these parts, did you?
Quite a few.
We'll be put Jamie on a special pricing deal. So.
Right.
Yeah. No, he shows your product well on his Bronco. We were at the Outer Banks. It just looks good on there. So should be some rolling advertisement for you in Eastern Virginia, at least mid Virginia, I guess, where you live. So I think the thing is that when I looked at the rear diff stuff with the trail turn assist, I just thought of, first person I thought of was you. I was like, well, they've got to be coming out with something to fix this, right?
Well, we do actually have that fix. It's called the Dana 60. We have it available.
There you
right
go.
now.
Yep. Yeah, you've
Dana
got that.
60
Yep.
is the way to go. I mean, it's a fair price change.
Right.
And that really is your best. However, we also, with the portals. So one of the things with the portals we've released, it will have a bolt-on truss that goes on the rear axle that will take that, because you're going to have, especially with portals, you're now taking those loads from the outside, which it converts it from a semi-float to a full float axle, which is going to take all the weight off of those axles and stuff. But we do reinforce it in that as well.
Gotcha. Well, Tyler, I don't want to keep you from the ice cream night. Tell Amy I'm sorry if it's went longer.
Hey,
I don't know how to tell.
Back, so
What's that?
I said Amy left to go get it. She said, I'm going to go get it and bring it back now. So
all right. Well,
It's been
Okay,
fun.
well, if you have a few more minutes to hang out with us, you're welcome. If not, just tell.
Yeah, I'm
All
good.
right. So I think when you're looking at the Bronco, and Tim, I want to bring you in on this. What do
Yeah.
you think as far as, I mean, you're carrying around 100-foot tall antennas on yours, but
No,
like,
no.
yeah, I'm just kidding.
They're only 75 feet tall.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So here's the deal. What do you think the Bronco needs next as far as what you've experienced or what you use your Bronco for? Is it whether it be someone like Bronkbuster coming out with it or Ford doing it on a factory Bronco? I know an inverter is needed on the 25. When they do the mid-cycle refresh, they should put an inverter in it, like a 400 watt.
Well, isn't there one in there now?
Well, I mean, not 400 watt, right?
No.
Not to run I don't know what it is now. Maybe it
120
is.
120 watts, I think. I do because I do the majority of my stuff with DC already. I don't need the inverter, so
Right.
I don't necessarily think of it that much. I will say my only criticism is there's a lot of things that I think on one hand Ford probably should have thought out a little bit more, reinforced a little bit more on the vehicle. But on the flip side of that, but what is it? The something of the necessity creates it creates companies like Blockbuster, right? So on one hand, it's
Sure.
great, but on the other hand, I think that there's I think a certain amount of abuse is not the right word, but I think there's a certain amount of activity that the Broncos were going to see that maybe I think Ford probably could have anticipated a little bit more. Because
Right.
they did a lot of research. They did a lot with the Jeep people. I mean, the seats are great. My ass feels great when I drive for 6 hours. You don't hear a Jeep person say that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things
Yeah.
that they did, but then just some of the reinforcement of the off-road stuff, the off-roading side of the vehicle that I think they probably could have done a little bit better job on.
Yeah, but Gavin and I drove to Detroit last year, right? 11 hours, 12 hours, whatever it was. I got there at 3 a.m., up at 7 a.m. to head out to one of the Jeff's Bronco graveyard, I think it was, and wasn't tired of driving it. So that's a testament, right? Most vehicles, when I'm in it that long, I don't want to see it for a week. So I'm right back in it. I'm driving it. I love it. It's cool. So I think it's cool. Hey, what do you think about the Bronco Raptor off rodeo that launched this week? Anybody have any feelings on that?
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Jealous?
I'd love to be there.
Fundamentally, the vehicle is going to handle slightly different, than the Bronco, and I think that that it's good that they're giving people their own kind of dedicated experience to learn about the slight nuances that you're going to have with the Raptor, just based on different tire sizes, engine. Are the axles the same width?
I know the.
I mean, because I know Tim, you don't have no Bronco or Raptor money, so I never even bother looking.
Yeah, that's a Tyler question. Tyler, the Bronco Raptor is a wider vehicle, but is that done just in rim and tire, or is that the diffs a different width?
Wider axle. So
Okay.
the axle on the Bronco is 69 inches, and I think the axle on the Raptor is 72 inches, I believe.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I know overall, I was trying to remember how did they make up the extra width. And, something I found out was pretty awesome on that. I was able to talk to one of the engineers. The travel has everything to do with the length of the control arm. So the more travel you have, the longer the control arm has to be. I had this question, why the watts linkage on the Ranger Raptor? Why not on the Bronco? Why the panhard bar? And when they explained it to me, I said, well, geez, I should have knew that. It was all about articulation and travel height. So the panhard, you're able to do a lot more travel than you are with a watts. So I thought that was interesting. There's a budget reasons why the Ranger Raptor has the watts linkage, and that's because it's in the World Ranger, right? So it didn't require retooling, re-engineering. They kind of brought it over. But originally the why it ended up on the Ranger Raptor is because you just don't have the travel on the Ranger Raptor that you do on the Bronco Raptor. So totally different vehicles, other than, the engine and tuning is there. So here's the thing about it. So if you sign up for Ford, media credentials, you get an invite. If you are friends of Ford, you get an invite. And I'll talk to several people today. So that's all well and good. But one thing that I've watched some of the videos, and I just think it's missing, is that correlation between the technology that Ford put in the Bronco Raptor with the 13 inches of travel in the front, up to 14 in the rear, joust bumpers, reinforced frame. How does that technology and how does all the parts and pieces work when you're midair? So I would love to explain the T6.2 platform with the reinforced frame while you're jumping, right, in your midair. So I was disappointed to see some of the videos didn't really connect the technology with the actual experience, but I guess you could piece it together for yourself.
Do you guys notice that every time Dwayne's getting ready to talk about the Ford and possibly maybe a negative way, it's like the internet sensors just jump in there and start breaking his connectivity up.
What are you saying? What do you say that I nicely have a criticism? Like I have politically correct criticism. What are you saying, Tim?
I don't know. Maybe I'm having the internet problem.
No. I think seriously. I'm sure. Would I like to have been there? Yeah, I would have liked to have been there to connect more of the user. Say, okay, Ford spent all this technology and time and experience into this Bronco Raptor. Why is that jump that you went over that makes everyone giggle? Why is that possible? And that's the one thing that I think is missing in some of the technical reviews. Speaking of which, hopefully on the Dark Horse, there will be a different experience that I'll get to do a review of one of those because I got a build date today, by the way, on my Dark Horse Mustang.
Yay.
Guess when it is? Today only, without any delays, September 25th. I thought that was a lengthy advertisement for a build date. So I totally expect that day to get backed up because of, stuff.
Right.
And there again, Becky was just, we're buying company vehicles and fixing company vehicles. And, she's really not filling a new car right now, but it's like, hey, this is a Dark Horse. All right. It's not every day you get to get a new Dark Horse. So I will tell you that we ordered day one. So right now, September 25th is the actual build date for ours. But getting back to Bronco, I do think that the Bronco Raptor fixes a lot of the issues. Now, Tyler, you talk about the rack, the 3.0. I guess that's the same rack that's in the Wild Track with the 3.0 suspension. Is that the same one?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think about the Bronco suspension overall? I mean, have you started working on that as well, or did I just miss it?
I mean, I'm personally not doing a lot on that. We do a lot with RadFlow. In fact, my next week's Tuesday live stream is going to be with the owner of RadFlow Suspension. His name is Glenn. We're going to be talking suspension on our live stream next. And yes, suspension and travel, and people got to understand there is so much that goes into the design and the engineering on the Ford Bronco that Ford put into its suspension. And I think overall, when it's stock, it's great. And when we start modifying, that's when we run into the problems, right?
Right.
And so to talk about the Ford, I probably have come around full circle. My first thought was that Ford really missed the ball on some of their designs, and I still believe that to a degree. However, I've spent time in a highly modified Bronco and I've spent time in a stock Bronco. And if the Bronco is kept bone stock, for the most part, you're not going to have a lot of issues, but there's a lot of us that like the big tires, the extended travel, to go out and climb the rocks without hanging up on stuff. But suspension does say, and then suspension plays a lot into the geometry. And, limiting down travel is important on an IFS vehicle, because if we all sit there and say, well, I want more travel, want more travel, want more travel, well, we're going to break everything. You have to have a suspension, a good quality suspension that limits your down travel and gives you as much maximum up travel. And the reason why the Raptor the Raptor Bronco is so much more successful with some of these things in the suspension is because it's a wider track. So that means you have a longer CV. And one of the limitations in our Broncos is that it's where the differential sits is it can't really be moved one side or the other. There's no room. You got your engine, you got your oil pan, you have transmission, you have all these things working there to put it there. And you can't move it more inboard. If you could move it more inboard, then you could have a longer CV axle, and a longer CV shaft is going to give you more travel without binding up. So yes, suspension, you could get me going all night about it, because it has been a learning process. And the minute you start changing that suspension, you almost need to redesign your CV axle. It's not a one size fits all CV. The CV axle needs to be designed to your suspension, or you can run into problems. So yeah. Anyway.
Well, and Jamie, you've lifted yours and changed a bunch of suspension components. Any issues or concerns on your end with CVs or anything at all?
No issues that I've run into yet. The down travel is, the main thing that you always worry about. But especially at speed. I just no issues yet. I love it. Everything about the suspension is cushy. The body lift really helps. Get it up that much more, 3 inches more, and
right.
But that's really it.
Well, and that's a key thing that he talked about, and that's one of the reasons why we put so much time into the body lift. There's a lot of people out there that want to talk about a body lift, but if you try and put those big tires on, especially if you go above 37 and you want to try and do it all in a suspension on an IFS vehicle, you're not going to wheel that thing very successfully without breaking.
Right. Well, let me ask you, Tyler. So I 21 Badlands, right? If I want to do 37s on my Bronco, what are, at a minimum, if someone just wants to go up from 35s, if they have Sasquatch, they would go from 35 to 37s. At a minimum, what should they do if they're just driving down the beach, light trails, nothing crazy?
So to go from 35 to 37, if you're not really going to off-road it, you can get by with 1.5 inches of lift. Now, I'm going to recommend you have your good, your better, your best. In your better, your good category, you can get by with a spacer lift or perch collar. There's arguments that perch collar is going to do more to limit your pressure on CVs and stuff. That's kind of a whole nother discussion, but you can get by with just something like that, especially if you're not heavy off-roading, and that's a fairly inexpensive way to go. Your better solution is going to be a coilover, because a coilover is going to maximize your lift without adding all that extra or too much extra strain. Whenever you change the geometry of your CV angle, you're going to add lift or add that angle. But I really try and talk people into a body lift. It's a very easy. You can put 1.5 inches body lift on and fit 37s. If you're not doing heavy off-roading and you're not worried about rubbing, if you really want to go out and road it, you can fit 37s with a 3-inch body lift without changing any of your geometry. And that is a very successful. I mean, we've had hundreds of people do that have had a lot of success in just doing that and then putting 37s on.
What about the gap that you're going to see between the bumper and the body, or say the swing gate on the rear? What do you do about that?
That's a good question, because I've spent the last 2 years focusing a lot of my attention on that. And Jimmy knows a lot of what we've done there. And, initially we solved that solution with relocating bumpers. But the problem with a bumper relocate is, number one, we're limited on how we can relocate them. In order to go up, you have to go out and up in order to clear all the bracket and stuff. So the brackets we develop, it kind of makes it number one, it doesn't look as good. I mean, it still looks good, but it doesn't look quite as stock, right? And you still have a little bit of a gap, and we're limited on what type of bumper, how much we can go up. So what we spent, since January until we just released here a few weeks ago is the body lift gap filler. So it gives you the ability to add lights in there, or it's just it's a really clean metal piece that conforms around and mounts in there and fills that gap and makes it look really nice and custom. And so it's been awesome because I'm now starting to get a lot of people that have said, well, I went and took it and I put these kind of lights on and it looks cool. It gives you a really customizable
options.
Options. Yeah.
Now, Tim, do you have plans for bigger tires on yours, or are you good with the 35s?
I'm still up in the air. I like the 35s, but I got to look cool too. So 37s might be in the future.
Yeah.
Join the club.
Yeah. And so I'm coming up on 30,000 miles on the factory, Goodyear Wrangler, non-Wranglers. So at some point I'm going to have to replace those. I like the factory wheels. I like the factory rims. And so I'm probably going to keep those.
I guess you do 37s on those wheels.
And if I could, that might be a possibility. And that's actually, I was kind of glad when I saw Tyler was on tonight because I was going to find out about that body lift.
Yeah.
And
specifically
the bumpers and filling that gap in.
Well, so Tyler, would you do 37s on those wheels?
What's that?
I'm sorry. Would you do 30? Could you go up to 37s on the Sasquatch wheels?
On Sasquatch wheels? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have that orange Bronco right behind you there. If I move out of the way, that's stock wheels on 40s. The stock wheels are incredibly well built.
Okay.
It just comes to offset, and we do that with our wheel spacer. We have a wheel spacer that we make out of aircraft grade aluminum. And that gives you that offset that you need.
Is that Talons?
That's Talons. Yep, that's our orange one that Talon we keep up in Idaho for a lot of our R&D of parts. Yep. But I wanted to answer somebody's question on here. So they said, do you have to cut? Somebody asked, do you have to cut the fan shroud on the body lift? And no, you don't. It's about an hour project. It can be done by anybody in their garage. There's very little on a 1 inch or inch and a half. There is no relocating of anything. Everything is long enough. On a 3 inch, there's one cable has to get extended,
and that's super easy.
Yeah, it's very easy to do. Very easy. And everything on the Bronco is like it was built for body lift. And I can tell you, every time I go to work on it, I am so glad I have a body lift because I can now get up in there. I can get wrenches on stuff. I'm now able to get my suspension. Doing all that, I'm going to cutting in the back to get more travel. It's all because I got 3 inches of body lift. There's been so many advantages. I hammer and hammer and hammer on. That is one of the things that for the least amount of money and the least problems that you can do on a Bronco for sure.
Well, Ford, they put it up in the top of the fender well, lift me, baby. I mean, they're already advertising just like, send it in the air. So Tim's favorite term, send it.
That's right. Send it.
Jamie, what did you do getting back to the body lift and the gap between the rear bumper and the swing gate? What did you do about that? I can't remember.
I used Bronkbuster's bumper relocates.
I'll see you there. I didn't even.
Yep.
I didn't arrange this, by the way, Tyler. So it's like he was just on the night.
I know you did. I know you did.
It was funny when I saw him at the Outer Banks. I was like, "Gosh, you have a lot of Bronkbuster stuff on here. I didn't even know you had." So
yeah.
But so it looks. So Jamie, you're happy with that? And
oh yeah.
Okay. Because that's one of the things when you talk about the lift for me, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it.
Well, with the rear bumper, right now I've got the factory bumper on the back. I've got another bumper kind of coming in to replace that eventually, but the back you really can't tell at all. It's got so much play in it that you can adjust hole one end and make sure everything is level. But the front bumper, the only difference that you can really see is that it extends out just a little bit, not much.
It comes out about an inch to be able to come out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, and most people can't even notice it. I mean,
but
you
it only is
probably
a solution. You know, it only works on the stock bumpers is the problem. You know, everybody says, well, can I buy that and throw it on my aftermarket bumper? And unfortunately, no, because they're all designed different and my brackets aren't going to fit on there.
right.
So that's why we came up with this new solution. But we also have, we've developed a front bumper. So you saw that one on Bronc Buster that we showed. We're now doing an aluminum version. I'm going to actually do that one in polished aluminum. And then we're doing a rear. And the beauty of it is we have it designed to fit stock height, 1.5 inch body lift, 3-inch body lift, all with one bumper because it has all the holes cut in it to fit all variations. So we've tried to make it, because I did a body lift. I was the first one in the country when I fit 40s. That was the only way I could fit 40s. I did my own makeshift, homemade body lift, and I hated the look of the gap. And I know most people do. And so that's been something we've put a lot of time and effort into. Different solutions that fits everybody's different build.
Well, Tyler, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Did you see the special edition Bronco that a company did with Ford it's called the Wildland, the fire Bronco? Did you see that?
I didn't.
So it's Tim can help me out with this. It's like red and white, maybe some black on it, and basically it has what looks like a capable front bumper. But it has a winch on it, a Warren winch. I didn't know if you knew, because you were just talking about bumpers. I didn't know if you probably don't know anything. Do you know if you can put a winch on a capable bumper?
I have not seen one on a capable. Of course, you can on the modular.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, I don't. I mean, okay, yes, I take that back. I believe there is a bracket that when you remove the tow hooks, somebody makes a bracket that goes in where the tow hooks mount, and of course it comes out in front and it hangs way out.
Gotcha. So maybe that's what I did.
That once. I'm not a fan because it kills your approach angle. Yes, you have a bumper with a winch, but now you got this big, huge thing sticking way out. I didn't like it myself. So.
Well, and when I saw it, because someone asked me before, can you do it? I said, oh no, you can't, because up until that point I didn't ever see anyone. So I asked Tim, I was like, well, Tim, do you think it looks like a capable, but it's a different bumper, has all the appearances of capable, but it's actually made for a winch, or is it a capable that they modified? So that was a question I'm just trying to figure it out. I can't find anything else. I think we look at approach angles. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I was gonna say my guess, my speculation is that company that made that builds fire trucks. They take vehicles and bigger vehicles and they make fire trucks. It's very possible that they could have fabricated something for that.
Sure.
But there are already winch plates that you can buy from other, from manufacturers that are already done. But I think those are generally for the heavy duty bumpers and not. I haven't seen it up for anything other than a heavy duty bumper.
Yeah, the modular has been the most common that I've seen the winch mounted to.
Yeah. And one of these days I'm going to end up with a winch on mine. I just have to. I've got some lights I want to put in mine.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I have a winch and a winch plate and all that stuff sitting in the garage waiting for Tyler to swing by.
Let's do it. Yeah, he makes house.
He's got the install service.
Yeah,
I just tell my wife I need like 5 more hours in a day every day, and I can do a whole lot more with that, right?
Tim, just reach out to Amy and find out when he's going to be in Indiana bolting parts on Broncos, and just get on a schedule.
Yeah, we'll catch him one time he's passing. I'm sure he'll be passing through.
Yeah,
heading somewhere or another, and
so Tyler and the Bronc Buster team can come up with the stuff. Jamie can buy it and put it on his Bronco, and then we can film it and show it here on the live stream. Tim, it's like a perfect little system here.
I love it.
I did see something here in the chat that kind of caught my attention, and I think with Tyler being here and having so much experience with suspensions and axles and everything in the Bronco, the age-old question has come up: solid axle Bronco.
I love this discussion. Actually, this is one of my favorites. So yes, I won't take a lot of your time, but I will say we actually did a live stream here 2 weeks ago about it with Eric with Lone Star, because he's done an awesome, he put 1 tons underneath a sedan Bronco, and he's got all the computer and stuff to work. And I think it's a beautiful build. I mean, it's one of the most badass looking Broncos that I've seen, right?
Was it the one that was at SEMA?
No, this one's not been at SEMA.
Okay,
This one,
so we interviewed the guy that did the one that was at SEMA,
okay.
and he did that, and he talked about all the tribulations of having to go through that to get it installed.
A lot of computer issues. I mean, you're tricking everything. You're tricking the wheel speed sensors. You're tricking you got to do something different on steering because you're not gonna put solid axle and put a little puny steering rack underneath it. You're gonna need a steering box like in he's got full hydraulic, and so now you got to trick the computer into thinking that it's hooked up to the steering rack and all your steering angles. And so I mean, my big thing is not for me. You're going to spend 40 to 50,000, and that's to do it minimum right. And at that point, I say buy a Jeep, because that's what the Jeep technology is. We buy a Bronco because the IFS, the ride quality, everything about it is wonderful. It just lacks in one thing, and that's maybe the extreme rock crawling, but we're working on that. I mean, there are solutions. I mean, we've got quite a few. You look at how far the evolution of solutions has come in the last year, and we give it another couple of years, and I promise you, I can already take these Broncos and go just anywhere a Jeep can go. There's just certain things that a Jeep can maybe do a little bit better, but we're getting there.
Yeah, but the one thing it can't do better is getting to the destination without, just getting outright exhausted, right?
Well, especially with hydro. Yeah, good luck taking that down the road.
Yeah.
Well, it's illegal in most states.
Right.
It's dangerous. I mean, quite frankly, I don't want to be going 80 miles an hour and have that fear of my hydraulic pump going out, because if that happens, you got no mechanical connection to your steering, and you're done, right? And so then it's a trail rig, which is great if you have the money for just a trail rig.
What's different in with a hydraulic and having that lack of mechanical linkage to like a drive-by-wire type steering that you see in a lot of cars now?
I mean, you could have mechanical linkage. That's called hydro assist, but what he has is full hydro, which means it's no different than a hydraulic ram that it works off of pressure, right? As you turn the wheel, it turns the pump, it pumps hydraulic fluid one way, and then it pumps it the other way. And that's what steers your vehicle. So if you burst a hose, if your pump goes out, there is no mechanical connection. So there's other ways around it. It's not saying that you have to have full hydro to do 1 ton, axles underneath your Bronco. You could put any kind of rack in there, and there's different ways to do that. So I wanted to make sure I didn't say that that's the only way, for sure.
Got it. And you look at, so you're doing suspension components, things for performance. What you did say earlier, that the stuff that kind of shiny and looks good and adds appeal to the Bronco, is that something that's in the works, or you've got a couple things, or no?
I mean, I've added a couple things. I have the trail sight light. I really like those, because for me, there's guys out there that want to delete the trail sight. I love it. I think it gives it part of the an iconic look.
Sure.
But I love having my LED light on. So that's one of my little bling bling things. We worked on some light bars. We have a light bar that we've developed for across the top. I'm not quite happy with it, so I've kind of pulled it for a minute while we're redesigning it and come up with some different ideas on it. So we have a light, some stuff that mounts on the front. We're doing some of the bling bling. It's just my focus has been, and it takes a lot. You got to understand, every part that we develop, it takes a long time to ever recoup what we put into it. And it takes a lot of money for the research, the development, and the tool path, and the tooling, and making these things. And I'm a small business, and so I can promise you, everything I've done, I've put my own money in, and I keep putting my wife's like, okay, you got to stop. But anyways, that's my obsession right now. But it's hard going. I can't go two directions, right? I can't focus on everything at once. Yes, I have a little bit of ADD, I'm sure, but if I try,
we all do.
Yeah, we all do that. Yeah, we probably all do. But I have to focus on one thing, and my focus has been on, I want to make that Bronco the most off-road capable vehicle on the market, and still maintain its qualities that makes it a Bronco. That to me is what my goal is. I wake up every morning thinking of ideas and ways to make that happen the best.
Yeah, and everyone, Jamie with Destination Bigfoot Bronco, you check out his Instagram account. He did share a video with me earlier. I was trying to upload it here, but I couldn't get it to take here. But as far as visuals, Jamie, you want to talk about what you've done to yours today, and
Yeah.
what's your Instagram channel so people can go check it out? And when will it be up?
I can actually load it now. See if I can do that now. It's destination underscore Bigfoot underscore Bronco on Instagram. See if I can get that.
Tyler, we were talking to Jamie here. He shared some pictures with me, and thanks for doing that, Jamie.
Yeah.
He's added some really cool graphics to his Bronco. So how much thought is there into, say, a graphics design that people widespread would like, so you could create it and sell that? Is that in the wheelhouse, or is that too much on the surface for you?
It's very much in the wheelhouse.
Okay.
Actually, it's so funny you say that, but I don't know if have you guys heard of Pax Power?
Pax Power? No.
So they're a Ford authorized upfitter. They actually are authorized by Ford to be able to bring them in before the VIN's issued, upfit them, and then they ship them all over the country. So they're down in Houston, Texas. We're going to be working with them here real soon to we're going to create a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 Bronc Buster build, right? And so with that, some graphics from a real subtle graphics to, maybe that extreme graphic that says, this is the more extreme. And so, no, graphics is something we're definitely working on. I've got a guy at down in Houston, Greg Lilly with Underground Graphics, that does some incredible work.
Greg did my graphics for my truck.
Okay, so a lot of people know
Greg. Super great guy to work with, and
my gosh,
he had me. I was going to do something stupid, and he talked me out of it.
Yeah,
and had me do some other things, and I tell you, the process was fabulous, and I was able to install it myself.
Yeah, he's an incredible mind. I give him like my ideas, because when it comes to maybe graphically pretty and stuff on the vehicle, I'm not all that talented at that. I'll be the first to admit it. But I have some ideas on what I want. I tell it to him, and some of the stuff, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, I can start showing everybody what we're coming up with. So the Portal Bronco that we're going to be rolling out here in about 2 weeks on Portals, it's going on Monday to Greg to put all the graphics on it, and it's going to have some of the most incredible. It'll actually have portal axles on the side of the vehicle, and he's done a really awesome job on that. So yes, I think graphics can serve a good point to kind of, because sometimes, especially with what I do, most of what I put underneath the vehicle you can't see, right? So I want to create some stuff graphic wise that says, okay, well, that package has this, this package.
Sure.
A lot of things that works. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The visual aspect of begin to say, a lot of us like the stuff that look bling bling, right? But we also want it to work right. So you take the Dark Horse. What are you going to do to a Dark Horse to let people know it's different? Speaking of a Mustang, a little bit different. So you have the graphics. If you do the performance pack, if you do the appearance package, you do all that. They're all going to look the same. If you say mine is grabber blue. So what are you going to do, to that car to make it look different, right? It's grabber blue and black. So I'm going to add some white to it. I'm going to add some red to it. I'm going to add some whatever to it. So with a Bronco, you want to say, well, I have all these components. It not only is it like lifted and you have the big tires, but you want to add the graphics that kind of says, hey, below the visuals, here's what I'm running. And I like the idea with the package.
Well, it's funny because I'm not good at that stuff. The guy that's a genius at marketing, and you mentioned him earlier, is Robert Parker. And Robert Parker and I become really good friends. I've done some overlanding with him, and I've gotten to know him well. And he's the one that very first told me this about a year ago. That's what you need to do this, Tyler, because you don't visually see the parts because they've been Bronco Nation has been a big partner of ours. You can pretty much buy any of our parts on Bronco Nation. They're, at the the member discount, those that are members of Bronco Nation, they get 10% off there and all that. And but Robert's been a good friend to give me some advice in that, and I agree with him. And so it's been in the works. It's still in the works for sure.
Yeah, good. He's good people, by the way. Yeah, that's one of the best one of the best things to go to the events where Bronco Nation is to hang out with Robert. So good guy, and
both him and his wife, and it's great people.
Yeah, the entire Bronco.
Yeah. Oh, I think we lost you. You're on mute. Dwayne, you're on mute.
Dwayne.
Wow.
Okay. I think we lost it. He lost us.
Dwayne, did you lose your Dwayne, did you lose your headphones? Your headphones? No, Mikey.
Mike, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
Hold on.
Did you not charge your microphone?
I need a new IT guy. Sorry.
Telling you.
Yeah, I said, Tim, come on, man. Help me out here.
I have a feeling you're probably not paying him enough.
No, no. The problem is that we need to quit buying vehicles and buy computers. Anyway, where did I last cut off before I started getting the sign language telling me you couldn't hear me? You know where I was with that? Tim, anyone? Basically, I was saying about Jamie's Bronco, right? Driving down the road, perfect brand. You see the Bronco brand going down the road. You see the components. You see the Bronkbuster stuff. You see what are the lights you have on your light bar, Jamie? What are they?
Those are the Project X FF70s,
which do not make a lot of road noise at all or wind noise.
None. The way the bracket's designed, it sits so low, it makes zero noise.
Okay, so basically, you have that Bronco going down the road that people start to look at. It's like, wow. You look underneath it, you can see Bronkbuster's components there because they're visual. I mean, right in front of you. You see the lights, you see the graphics, and you get to see sort of the branding that you've got on the side. Whenever you show it, I think people are going to figure it out, that you can start to see what's in the build. And I do think there's a component between the advertisement, the proud of to be in, the customer of brand X type stuff. So I think it's cool. I think the best marketing in the world is when you can get someone to buy your product and put your name on the side of your vehicle or their vehicle.
Yeah, I'd agree. And the only reason, a big reason that I put, the brands on there were for products that, that I believe in, and that they've helped me along the way. So that was a big reason for putting them on the Bronco.
Got it. Yeah, and I just think it also connects you with your, where do you shop? How, are you doing the whatever you can get off the internet, or are you shopping with name brand? People that are invested in the technology. So I think it's pretty cool.
Right.
Well, Tyler, we're going to wrap this up here pretty soon. 3 years since the Bronco launch, your life has changed. All of our lives changed. Tim's on the internet on a regular basis. So am I. Jamie as well. I don't know if you guys thought you would be on YouTube doing stuff like a live stream here.
Never.
Right now, 3 years ago, I was desperately trying to get my reservation in, panicking.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I can tell you it was 11:16. Gavin and I, we were you're right. We're pretty detailed. It was 11:16. July 13th, 2020, that my order took for the first Bronco. So almost 3 years. So, life's changed.
Yeah.
And created businesses out of it, and friendships and live streams and YouTube channels and everything else.
I've met hundreds of people, made hundreds of friends across the country. That's probably the biggest thing that my wife and I talk about is how there's probably not a city in this country that we don't have a friend that said, hey, if you come through, stay at our house, right?
Yeah.
The Bronco community is just amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and the Super Celebration East was Gavin and I's first big Bronco event that we'd been to. And they were doing them before the 6th gen. I get it, but we had never, we didn't have a Bronco. We didn't go. That was the first event we went, and I was like, you know what? This is cool. This is different than a car show. Car shows are a little more stuck up. And I'm sorry, car show people. I'm sorry, but I tell everybody, if I can tell the story here, Virginia Beach Convention Center, big car show over there. I had my black and gold Mustang, the one that's behind me on this, wherever it is, right here. And it's loud, it's fast, it's all that cool stuff. And I have these pictures of before and after. You can see the picture right over here. It's kind of hard to tell with Gavin's chair in a way, but basically the car was a rust bucket and holes in the feet, and now it's not. And there was a guy telling me, he said, nobody cares about your story. Nobody cares about what the car looked like. They just want to come in and see the stuff. And I was like, geez, this is a Mustang guy. I ended up moving. They moved me onto the big block Chevy aisle. He said, well, your car sounds like it belongs on this aisle anyway. And we were sitting there, and I don't know how to take that comment. I was like, well, geez. Car shows are different.
Yeah.
The Bronco community I found was just like laid back, awesome people. It was just a really cool experience.
Yep.
So that was a treat.
I've met lifelong friends just, at Supercell. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
The people that I met. And, a lot of it, I have to, thank Allie Dubois just for putting me out there and putting my Bronco out there. And, during the Mitch's big reveal there. So it was great. And I appreciate everything that, they've done for me.
Yeah. Allie's good people there. So, and
being on a go-kart though, don't get her in a go-kart. Right?
Don't get her in a go-kart. What is this, dangerous or what?
Oh yeah, her and Krista, man, they come after you. So.
Yeah. So and I tell you what, Gavin in a go-kart, he's an animal. I don't know. We've got a video on our channel, and we have the fastest go-karts in the state of Virginia are in Portsmouth, Virginia, at a place called Le Mans Karting. So it's worth your trip to Portsmouth because these are cars. You've got to wear the helmets. You've got to wear all the gear, even for the kids. And Gavin, if you've got to watch, so you're watching right now after the show, look for the karting video with Gavin. He lapped the field 2.5 times. And the guy telling me that he was running the show, he's like, dude, you need to get him in a cart. Like he wants to go, And so we went last time we went, and he put a hurting on me one of the times. Like, geez, man, he's a lot lighter than I am and all that, but he's a driving machine. So Mr. Gavin loves it. But I'll tell you, kids like Gavin, he loves this whole Bronco community. And I'll tell you, Jamie, he loves your Bronco. He's like, Dad, when are we going to? It's like, stop, okay, and Tim's giving him shirts and stuff, and I think when he watched Tyler's video of him rolling over there, he was like, dang, man, he's like,
he's a great kid.
Real. He said that guy's for real. I'm like, yeah, he's for real. He's testing the Bronco out, so. That's the coolest thing. So the 3 years has been fun. So Tyler, I appreciate you being on tonight for 15 minutes. This is what I told you. I think 15, 20 minutes.
It's been fun. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, drop you out for a minute because I know you need to get going. The ice cream's got to be home by now.
Well, she is. She's dishing it up right now. So
all right. Well, look, I'll let you go. I appreciate you being here, Tyler. Thank you. Awesome. And
thanks, Tyler.
Absolutely.
Stay in touch.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye, Tyler.
See ya. So Jamie,
yes.
Tim, that was pretty cool. Tyler joined us for, I told him 15 to 20 minutes, and that was, sorry, Tyler, that was 2 hours almost.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens.
I know our friend from up north wasn't able to make it. He probably.
Would you like to give him?
I do.
Tim. Give him grief.
Somewhere I got a message from Stefan and said, dude, I forgot to send you those stickers. That was like 6 months ago. And
Yeah.
I'm still waiting. And when you said that you had talked to him, I was like, good. I'm going to give that man some flack tonight. And then all of a sudden he's
Well-
not here. And I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he had something come up. He couldn't be with us, but
Mm.
Steph's been a guest twice. He
Yeah.
probably knew you were going to be on. He's like, I don't want to face the no. Steph's a good guy. North Shore Broncos, who we're talking about.
Yes,
Great
yeah, yeah.
channel.
Good
Check
guy.
him out. Yeah. Good.
And he
Yeah.
does some hilarious videos.
Oh, his install videos are classic. Like he's doing them himself.
Yeah.
He's got a bumper on a bucket and the bucket falls. And I'm like, dude,
The Canadian
seriously?
way.
the Canadian way, man. Independence.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's fine. The It's Fine video.
It's fine. It's fine.
That's my wife and I joke about that all the time. Whenever
Becky
some
and I
crap
do
just
too.
goes bad, she just goes,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's
You
fine.
know, I told Becky, I was like, okay, you can take a truck, you can lose an engine, right? Another truck, you
Yeah.
can lose an alternator. You can have a flat tire, leave somebody out of production. Becky, last night, my truck, for God's sakes, gosh sakes, my truck in Sunday, I think it was Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, I went to Smithfield, Virginia, and the brakes were a little stiff. Well, coming back, they were kind of stiff. I turned into my neighborhood. I hit the brakes. I had no brakes. Like I put it in neutral and went and started using my emergency brake. Well, what happened was the vacuum line from a canister came off of, it was in a
Oh.
fender well. And the guy was like, at the dealership, he got me right in, took care of us because I had to have it towed there. He said, did you make somebody mad? Because they like pulled the right hose off to make this vehicle not stop. It's like, geez. So they fixed it up yesterday. Becky drove my Bronco last night to drop me off to get my truck. We get on Mercury Boulevard. We hit the interstate. She calls me and says, I hate to tell you this, but I just got a low tire alarm on the Bronco. Left rear is going flat. What? Oh yeah, left rear is going fat, and I don't have the piece. I saved the piece for me. I'm going to do a video on it. There was this round piece of metal with a hole on the center, like a straw, went right into the tire, and was just leaking air out. So about every 2 minutes, she was getting an update, and she was losing 1 pound to 2 pounds of air.
Oh, yeah.
So she hauls butt over to Kroger in Suffolk. We get across the Monitor Merrimack Bridge Tunnel. We add some air to it, and then we haul butt home, pulls it in the garage, and I put the jack underneath the diff. I get the wheel up. I get the tire off. I find the piece in there. I can't believe it. I just picked the vehicle up.
Going across the bridge with a tire losing air the best decision?
Well, she knew exactly where she was with it. She was at that point 33 psi, right? You get out of the tunnel, she's at 30 or 29 psi. She gets off the bridge. By the time she gets to Kroger, it was at 12 pounds. It wasn't on the rim, still had some, sidewalls sticking up. So we aired it up to 32. What's that?
Some off-roading pressures.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
sand mode right there.
So if you'd had your compressor, your ARB compressor on board, you could have just
Right. So
taken care of it right there.
So the mountains to metal, we start there. We start with the molly grids in the back. We start with the panels in the back, and then we add the ARB to it. I know. But the point being is, and I think I started going off on the rant. I just can't believe, like I typically have good luck with stuff, but like I told Becky yesterday, I was like, it's not what happens. It's all in how you handle it. Engines, alternators, tires, brakes. It's like, you can't make it up after a while. So you start buying new vehicles, and then so that's been my couple weeks. But I got to tell you, tonight is pretty cool. July 13th, 2020 is where it started. Here we are at 2023, and pretty cool. Meet a lot of great people like Tyler and Amy, and the list goes on. So
all of our lives have changed. So
yeah, I think so.
that's the main thing I get from it.
Gavin
for the better.
Gavin will drive that Bronco when he's 16. So even for him going forward, it's changed because he has his first vehicle.
True.
Which my daughters give me grief about, but okay. He's the one that sat here and watched the show with me, not them. But
exactly right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And if they're
Good.
be in trouble for that comment, what are you saying, Dad?
What are you saying that?
But so what, Tim? What say
Yeah.
you? Last thing before we wrap it up. What do you want? The Bronco experience and.
Oh yeah. So
you have a new channel coming out, by the way.
I did launch a new YouTube channel. So you know, at the beginning of the year, I started adding in some ham radio content.
Yep.
And it took off. It's drawn a lot of people in that are ham radio centric and less overlanding or off road or just outdoor. And so I was getting more and more comments about getting more in depth, more technical. And I thought maybe that was probably out of the scope of the Overlanding for Fun channel. So I went ahead and launched a new channel to kind of address that, which is also going to allow me to do things that I wouldn't have done on this channel, like build kits or do soldering, do those kind of things that are I like to do, but I didn't really want to. I didn't feel like it came into the theme. So it's at Grayman Poda, Gray, like we spell it right here in the United States. Grayman Poda, and Poda is that Parks on the Air thing, and so it's really just all dedicated to that. I'll still occasionally put some ham radio stuff on here, but it's going to be in that same tone and tenor that I do now, and it's just more of a, hey, this is another cool thing that I've got this great vehicle that I can go in the outdoors and go out and do an activity at some place. And speaking of that, so I know this weekend is Super Celebration in Wisconsin.
It is. Yeah.
I had some stuff come up at work and I wasn't able to get away. I am going to go down to the Lexington area tomorrow or Saturday. There's an event going on in Slade, Slade, Kentucky, where they've been expanding the trails in the Daniel Boone Parkway and stuff, and so there's is it Central Kentucky or Centrac, maybe Centrac, Kentucky Bronco Group is sponsoring that. So Brent Berryman, I don't know if you guys met him. He's got the God's Country Overlanding. Is kind of, I think,
I've seen the name, but I haven't met him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was the rig that was there, not Modify Mike with the one pull behind trailer, but he was over in the Brent was over in the kind of the vendor area with repping a trailer that a brand that he works with.
Gotcha.
So that's when I got first meet him. But I saw this thing, and then while I'm down there, it's in the Red River Gorge area. There's a bunch of state and then the national forest, which is kind of the same thing with the parks on the air. So I've kind of got the weekend planned to go do some Bronco stuff, go spend some time out in the outdoors, go be with some like-minded people, and go do some radio stuff. So that's kind of my weekend.
Jamie, what about you? What's anything new with the Bronco or anything else?
I've got a meeting tomorrow with a PPF guy. I want to try to get the new graphics and everything kind of sealed up with some PPF and see if I can get that knocked out, and the possibility of a new rear bumper for the back, and trying to get all that kind of stuff wrapped up before the Great Smoky Mountain Broncos Stampede.
Yeah,
mid-August.
So I think that's going on the same weekend as the Woodward Dream
Cruise. Yep, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, and I think I'm torn between where I just think that Gavin and I have we have a cool opportunity up in Detroit with a meeting. and then we got to turn around and hopefully, follow that up with a trip there in the Bronco. So I think we're doing the Woodward this year, unless something changes, unless the last minute something changes. So
Yeah, let us know how it is.
yeah, it's for us it's great because we get to. I mean, in this case, we'll get to go do something private at around the Ford brand. But then we'll get to go to some other places that everyone's going to, and I think it'll just be awesome for us to go to. Maybe you go to it 2 or 3 years and you're okay with it, but I sometimes if I'm putting an event together, I'm going to look around and make sure it doesn't conflict with
Right.
a major. It's always going to conflict with something, but like a major thing like Woodward Dream Pros. Now Woodward is mainly a locals thing. It's a Detroit thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Bronco Nation is really, they have a presence there, 3rd year now. I think they're going to have a drive this year.
I'd heard that.
We did the Bronco Graveyard last year. We went to Michigan Assembly Plant where the Broncos are built. That was pretty cool. We did a photo op there, went to Ford headquarters. We went to Fairlane, Henry Ford's personal estate. It was a cool time.
Yeah.
This year, if we were doing the same thing this year, it might be less appealing. But this year, there's that one unique opportunity.
Right.
But then there's some other new opportunities. So I think it's really cool. Bronco Nation really works hard to put some cool stuff together. So I think that's where we'll be at the end of August of this year.
Yeah.
But other than that, hey, I really appreciate everyone being here. Let's go through the comments because I feel bad that I didn't get to go through the comments earlier. Tim, you got a minute, Jamie?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Bronco 78 said, I was supposed to go to Maggie Valley this weekend for the Broncos in the Valley, but instead we'll be around the house getting some work done. Yeah, and that fence you're doing, man, looks pretty cool. I guess that's done by now. TJ Miller was talking about the go-kart stuff, so I need to get Gavin, open the Pandora's cart and get Gavin in go-kart. And Gavin right now is all about fishing, so I'm good with that. It's a little bit cheaper.
No, it can get expensive.
No, it can get, but not go-kart expensive. Go-kart expensive
Right.
is a whole
Yeah, that's true.
But Gavin will be behind the wheel of something. We do want to get a car and drift it.
You've got the perfect one coming.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking station wagon, big block,
I gotcha.
block station wagon, some sled. I'm thinking like, here's what I'm looking: 79 Country Squire.
There you go.
National Lampoons, paint it metallic pea green, put some wood grain on the side, and drift it.
Nice.
Bronco 78 Adventures just started bringing up something down there, another Pandora's box with fishing, and that's a bass boat, and then a trolling motor, and then you got to get those little things in the back that shoot down in the
Bronco
in the bottom to hold
he's
in
starting
place.
to give me some bad juju now. You need to stop with the bass boat.
Then you got to get all those lures, and there's got to be different lures and jigs and all kinds of things just for different types of fish. You're going to have ones for the crappie and another one for bass.
Gavin texted me a picture today. He's holding a it was a brim, and he's like, "Dad, look what I caught." And I'm like, "Dude, where are you?" He's in the neighborhood today. Oh, we found a private lake in the back of the neighborhood. I didn't even know it existed. Like, whose yard are you in? Well,
did he catch it off a beetle spin or?
I know he caught this one off a shrimp. So he took the frozen shrimp that we had in the Outer Banks.
Mm-hmm.
He took it and fished freshwater, was catching brim with him. Dude's trouble, man. So in a good way.
How far are you from the coast, Dwayne?
How far?
Yeah.
Well, we're on a creek, so we're on saltwater right now. We're tidal. Behind me, 100 feet is a creek. So Elizabeth River is a quarter mile from me.
Okay. So he can fish saltwater fairly easily.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he can fish out in the backyard, but so freshwater's his thing, like he loves freshwater.
There's a cat. You need to go check him out. Deer meat for dinner. Guy does nothing but hunting and fishing. And he's down there in southern Florida.
Really?
And great videos. Deer meat for dinner. Yeah, he's all about catch, clean, and cooks. He's very family friendly, and just he praises the ability to go out and the to be able to catch your own food, clean it,
Hey,
cook it.
Hey, and by the way, I didn't get a chance to say hello earlier. I kept it on the screen a little long. Andrea Paradiso, thank you very much for the 1999 super chat. Andrea's been a great friend of the channel. If you've watched my Bronco Raptor review video here on our channel, that was Andrea's Bronco Raptor that we reviewed. So he's great people. And Andrea, thank you. I didn't get a chance to say hello earlier. I do appreciate that super chat, supporting the channel. It's awesome. People like you just make it happen. Make it happen. So thank you again. TJ Miller joined us tonight, Bronco 78 Adventures. He's still sneezing the dust out of his nose from Townsend. Sorry, Craig. Nick Taylor was here. Road to Pro. Hello, what's going on? TJ Miller, Mobile Motto, Nick Taylor, Jerry Avalantis. Okay. Sorry, Jerry, if I messed your name up. I'm so sorry about that. Let's see, who else was in here tonight? Quite a few. Jonathan Falls, what's going on? I haven't talked to Jonathan in quite a while. Big O's here, Mobile Motto. Tim with Overlanding for Funds here.
I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah. Tyler Mason with Bronkbuster. Let's see, who else was here? Some guy named Jamie with Destination Bigfoot Bronco, I think. But yeah,
I heard that's one of those fake accounts on Instagram.
Kevin, what's up, Kevin? What's going on, Kevin? I haven't talked to Kevin in a while. Kevin has, and if you see the profile picture, the big dent in the side of that Cyber Orange. I guess somebody ran a light, and yeah, that stinks.
That's sick.
So what's going on with Jamie with you? Are you doing more of the YouTube stuff now or Instagram, or are you just kind of what are you doing?
I've been concentrating a lot on Instagram, but YouTube is slowly progressing.
Yeah.
It's a very, very slow process. And that's the next big thing for sure.
YouTube is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about review videos when you see someone does all right, I'm not upset, but I wish I would have been invited to the Bronco Raptor off rodeo because I think I could have added some unique perspective on that.
Yeah.
But when you do, say, a review of a vehicle, have you thought about doing a detailed review of your Bronco after you've gotten to a certain level of modifications?
I have, and the issue that I'm having is I can never decide when I'm close to being finished. So it's like if I add something, I'm going to regret not, throwing a video out there, but they will come. I'm definitely, a few different things, special use cases. I want to try to, how I use the Bronco or how I store stuff and then maybe a full walk around. And I was thinking about doing, a few videos of where the Broncos started and where it's at now, and kind of like a progression, kindergarten to senior year.
Right. Well, that's a good point. Here's what I think a lot of people struggle with, right? Is they see your Bronco now, they see what could be an end project for someone. They like leave it alone, it's done. But you're going to keep going with it, just like Bird Dog Overland Adventures, who has come to the point where just go ahead and change what he first started putting on there, like modified off the chart.
He's modding the mods now.
Modding the mods. Good looking Bronco, by the way. I mean, awesome Bronco. I love it.
I gave him some flack the other day when he posted a picture of him swapping out his winch. And I'm like, dude, I haven't even got my first winch on yet, and you've already replaced the winch.
Yeah.
And so he started out, he had like the winch plate that I just bought with the winch. He took that off, he put a JCR bumper on, that had the winch plate integrated into it. And now he's taken the winch off and put a new winch on. And so what was it? You said, you were joking around one day. It was like, if you're ever interested in any kind of a modification for the Bronco, you touch base with Bird Dog, because he's probably bought one, if not two of them already.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
like when we were sitting next to him last year at Woodward, we were at Ford's Garage, the restaurant there. It was like as bad as being on the Outer Banks next to Jamie's Bronco. I'm like, gosh dang it. Like I love the fact that it's stock, but then I'm next to this thing. It's like he had the, that was before he had the hardtop. He had the netting over it. I forget what you call it.
I remember that.
The attic. He had the PPF that he had. It's like, come on, man. The wheels, the tires. Come on, man. Yeah, you got to say it right. You got to say, come on, man.
Come on, man. Man.
Yeah. So anyway, so I think it's cool, but look, here's the thing. I haven't spent a bunch of money in my Bronco yet. It's coming, but I think the lights and the winch are going to be my first thing. Well, lights, winch, and the mountains to metal gear in the back. I got to do that. And then I can start really bolting stuff on at a pretty good rate. I think that's my biggest expense. But Jamie, what I was going to tell you was there's a lot of people that need advice on where to start. Like your Bronco's to the point now to where if you break it down, well, look, here's where it started. Here was the first mod. Here's why. Here's what I did second. Because a lot of people want to know, like I asked Tyler the question earlier, all right, can I do 37s on the stock wheels? If so, what do I need to do? Suspension, bare minimum. So that's when you hear body lift, you can use the tires. Maybe you do something different with suspension. But I think a lot of people are confused. What do I have to do versus what do I want to do?
Right.
And I guess the story then, it revolves into what are you doing with your Bronco? Like, are you rock crawling? Or are you just going to the beach? You just want to look cool at the mall? Like, what's the story? So I think you could add a ton of value.
I personally want to look cool at the laundromat. Not the mall, the laundromat.
The laundromat?
The laundromat, yeah.
Jeez.
Heck yeah.
At least mine is Kroger. Like Becky goes to Kroger all the time, and I go by and I see her Bronco out in the parking lot, and I'm like,
you guys don't go to Publix?
We have one opening soon near us. First one.
Publix
we have one in Virginia Beach, but we're not.
So Publix is awesome. And
I love
the beer company that I'm a shareholder in is now in Publix. And by the way, I don't know, Dwayne, did you see who's coming to Hampton Roads?
Is that what you sent me the other day?
Yep. They're moving from Maryland down to Hampton, and there's a 650 seat tap room and brewery that they've bought
in Hampton.
In Norfolk.
Brewery
Norfolk.
and tap room in Norfolk, Virginia. I've got it right here.
Yep.
Armed Forces Brewing Company. Cool deal.
So I feel like I'm going to have to drive down there and make a pilgrimage to the tap room.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let us know when.
Matter of fact.
Hey, it's still open, Tim, for
Oh yeah. The initial public offering is still open. I'm sorry, it's private. It's a private offering, but
private.
So if you go to armedforcesbrewingcompany.com, and they're doing some great things, and they're a tribute beer to the men and women of the armed forces of the United States, and their beers are really cool. They got some catchy names and stuff like that, but they plan to hire up to 70% veterans
cool.
to work in the places, and
That's
then
great.
even like the hops for I just saw an interview that they did on Fox and Friends, but the hops from for one of the beers that they're using, it comes from a veteran owned farm.
Jamie, if you want me to forward what Tim sent me, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
So
Do that.
But yeah, Tim, you know, that's, I love the microbreweries and stuff, the whole thing there. I wish I could have had the New Bern What was the name of the company?
Freshwater Brewing Company.
Freshwater Brewing Company. They had the big Bronco event down there. Gavin was a little under the weather.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to take that chance. But yeah, I missed that. But, that's the other thing about the Bronco. In Virginia, we have a lot of Bronco groups, and I kind of wish we could work together. You have Northern, you have Nova Bronco, you have DMV. I don't know. You have a bunch.
Yeah, Bronco Army DMV. That's like the Northern Virginia one, and they kind of don't mix quite as well with the rest of the state.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have Virginia Broncos, which I started early on because I knew that it wouldn't be cool. But honestly, when you start a group like that and you want to grow it, it's hard work. And I just don't have the time for that right now. So if somebody wants to help out with that, if you're watching this live or on replay, you know what to do. Hey, would it be weird to do a review of new company trucks?
Yeah, I know. I think we purchased 5 or 6 this year already.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? You could do that, by the way. Just comparison. Right. So 6 months or so ago, we started a second channel. And we're currently doing content for that. We're going to upload a bunch of videos, and then we're going to have like a Wednesday night. We're going to get Tim to help me, launch it here. But we're going to have plenty of content out there. But it's going to be cool for more car reviews, right? Car, stock, truck, stuff like that. Driven Wild Outdoors is all about the outdoors, the fishing, the off-roading, the off-road vehicles, whether it be Ford Bronco, Jeep, what's the Chevy, what's the new I'm drawing a blank. I know the name. The new Chevy pickup truck.
The ZR2?
No, it's it's an off-road vehicle, sort of like the Ranger Raptor.
Oh, not the Hummer.
No, Lord, no.
You sure it's not the ZR2?
No, well, no, I don't think so. It's something else. Avalanche. The Avalanche? Is the Avalanche? Somebody help me.
That was their older vehicle, I know. Is it what Dave and Kelly had that they ran for a while? For like a week, they had for a weekend.
No. That's a bigger truck. This is a smaller truck. They got a big. Yeah, Bronco 78 said Jeep, I'm out of here. No. Hang on, man. Don't go anywhere. The Bison, I think it might be.
Come on, man.
I don't think it's the Bison. Anyway, I'll figure it out. But what I'm saying is, I want to compare. Right, Jeep's trying to do stuff to keep up with the Bronco. I'm sorry, but until you do something with the suspension, it will never ride as good as a Bronco. Now, you can argue rock crawling, you can argue all that all you want to, but there again, you flip over to Bronkbuster, then he has solutions for that stock Bronco to do the rock crawling, right? So I don't even know if it's factory, yes, but if you're talking about aftermarket, I think the Bronco is very capable.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Canyon or the GMC's Canyon.
GMC Canyon. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
yes.
and Kevin said the Colorado ZR2, so that's probably the.
So you're right. You're right. The ZR2. There again, Chevy GMC.
Right.
Same vehicle, different name. But I do want to talk about those and compare it to the Ranger Raptor. So our company has a Ranger Raptor on order. What a heck of a company vehicle.
I don't think there is a comparison, to be honest with you.
It's the most horsepower in the mid truck size, the mid trucks line out there, right? So 405 horsepower. The torque is off the chart. I've had the luxury of sitting in it, not driving it yet. It is a good feeling vehicle. I like how the front's wider to house that new V6,
right? Whether
it be the 2.7 coming up for late year availability or the 3.0 in the Ranger Raptor, in the Ranger Raptor. It just feels, it almost feels like how the Ford trucks were back in 1996.
Okay.
You're starting to mimic. It's a really big mid-sized truck.
Gotcha. And I know the issue with the older Ranger, it always felt like the sides came in a little more.
Yeah, and the front was pointy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I've got a friend of mine who has a little bit older Ranger, and I had a problem. I had to take my car in the shop up in Indianapolis one day. He's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Just take the Ranger." I got into that thing. I couldn't fit in there. Yeah, I was like this, and my head hung over, and I'm like, so I'm kind of hesitant. Hopefully, this has got a bigger cabin.
Well,
especially if it was only a single cab, then you would really.
Supposedly,
it was a single cab. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly the cabin is overall the same dimension. The front's wider, the bed's different. But I think when you're dealing with the four door, it's going to be the same size.
But that is one thing I love about the Bronco. I have as a bigger guy, I have no problems fitting in that vehicle at all. There's, I'm not fighting the steering wheel. I'm not being crunched in or, between the door and the center console. None of that. When I was test driving that Jeep, that's how I felt.
It's more of a narrow cabin in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Just funny. I was looking at the GM website or the Chevy side of the GM website, and they've got the new Silverado EV coming out, I guess. And that thing looks like a Ridgeline.
Does it really?
It does. Yeah. It's got that whole back end side flares that come down.
I know Volkswagen has one that they haven't released over here yet. It's just like a Ridgeline also.
So Bronco 78 Adventure said all the reviews focus on how comfortable the new Ranger Raptor is. So the new Ranger is. When I sat in the Ranger Raptor, so it's going to be the same cockpit, it was very comfortable. I do like the center stack. I like how the dash was. The windshield has a nice rake to it. And you didn't feel crunched, like there's room over your head. There's room between your head and the window. So the cockpit in it feels, at least for me, it felt good. There again, we all have our different, unique reasons why we like or hate a vehicle. I do think, though, it's going to be one of the most, I think you're going to see it compared with the Bronco on the trail. At least maybe you're doing the XLT, some off-road, version of that, but mainly the Ranger Raptor. It's going to definitely be out with the Broncos. And the overlanding guys love the pickups. I'm surprised Tim doesn't have a pickup.
That might be. It might be coming. Who knows?
It might be coming. Hey,
it might be coming.
I when I looked at the Ranger Raptor, I said, "Is this the Bronco truck we wanted?" I mean, technically, it is the frame, the whatever, but it's a different suspension, rear suspension. The Watts versus the Panhard type setup. But anyway, look, I think we're ready to go for tonight, aren't we? Any last parting comments before we go at 2 hours and 30 minutes? Jamie, thanks for sticking it out with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great.
Oh,
look here.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Tim,
my parting comments: get out, have fun,
get out,
enjoy the outdoors.
Life is for the living. I heard something today on the radio. I listen to mainly YouTube stuff, and most I listen to is motivational life strategy type stuff, right? And it was Neville Goddard was talking about the big lie that people live. Work hard when you're young, put money away so when you're old, you can enjoy it. And that's one of the biggest lies. You got to enjoy every single day, whether you're 12 years old, you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40, 50, whatever. Enjoy every day because you're not promised another day on this planet. And I got to tell you, the Bronco has drugged me out of my pattern that I was in and started a YouTube channel. It's put Gavin and I going places that I didn't, not in a million years. I think I'd go to Detroit to hang out for a weekend, but I actually love it. Or Townsend, Tennessee. I'd never heard of it. But to be able to meet some really awesome people, both of you are perfect examples. So, yeah,
Amen.
Today's the day, not tomorrow. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not here. Today's the day. So go out and enjoy it and have fun. So, gentlemen, we're done for tonight. I appreciate you being here.
All right. It's been
All right.
real.
All right, everyone.
Yep.
See ya.